Listen to the Healing Guides podcast with Hannah or Marian on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Google Podcast. Okay, so this is an episode that just came to my mind randomly. I just want to talk about this a little bit. Hopefully, this will be a short recording. Okay, so there's, in Islam, obviously the man-made books which are called hadith. Hadith means narrations. Basically, they believe that a lot of information, right, was compiled from the words that the prophet said, the last prophet Muhammad, which is the man that got sent down to reveal the last scripture after Jesus was no longer here. Jesus had, the Torah, which is today the Bible, is corrupted. And the Prophet Muhammad was given the Quran, which also today is corrupted. So since Muslims don't want to admit the Quran is corrupted, they cannot ever be the leaders of morality or justice or religion in this world. You know what I mean? The people of God are here, basically their religion, but they're evil and they agree with evil and spread it. Therefore, they cannot be an example. Muslims cannot be an example. You agree today, they're actually an example of what human beings would call, pure threat, because they don't want to admit evil is in their scripture and evil is in these man-made or hadith books. There's obviously good in both. So some of the truth, right, or some of the correct portions of the hadith, which is, knowledge that God himself sent down to human beings overall, some to the prophet, only he knows. And it's just been written down over time as signs of the end of the world, things that will happen before they believe this leader will come down, who's called Mahdi Abdullahi. They think he's gonna come from the Arabs. They think he's, this male that will come down before Prophet Jesus returns. They also believe Jesus will return, which his real name is Isa, but only God knows if that prophet will actually return. And Jesus was not killed or crucified or anything. God saved him. And the Quran that's one of the things it was trying to reveal, after the Torah or the Bible today was corrupted. So yeah, that's still something that Muslims are trying to convince Muslims that this man was not killed, They struggle with it so much because there's a lot of evil in their heart, the human beings who like to follow Christianity, where they actually like the idea of someone dying for their sin, because it makes them feel safe then. They don't have to be held accountable for their sin. No one is going to die for you. No one's going to be punished on your behalf. That's dumb as hell. It's that simple. There's really no big reason out there except the fact that it's dumb. It's not logical, and it's not just of God to do that. I should not be killed for that man over there who just murdered someone to be forgiven like that. You would agree that's wrong if God does that to me. He's not going to do that to his prophet then. We're all going to have the same rights, okay? And he's not, God's son. He was just a regular human, but, supernatural in that way that they're chosen by God to be spiritual leaders, which are usually called prophets, messengers. Messengers didn't have, as Muslims believe, a scripture to bring down. They were just using the prior scripture of, you know what I mean? The prophet, when the prophet was no longer there, or maybe he's there, but he's somewhere else in the world. And then they would be using the same book because they're in the same lifetime usually, which means they're both alive at the same time, or, like the prophet is no longer there. Let's say he died, and then this messenger is sent out to continue his message, but he's not going to come down with another scripture, he's just going to continue to use that scripture that's still, intact. So one of the whole purposes of my Healing Guides podcast, even the word healing, right? Why is it healing? Why is it called a guide? God came up with these names, okay? I didn't come up with it. God came up with it. Yeah, the purpose of my Healing Guides podcast, the main thing really is to reveal that the Quran is corrupted and that God showed that to me through the fact that demonic spirits persecute me, just like a prophet, ever since before I was born, just like them. And in these persecution, in these behaviors that are conducted every day towards me, where they're using human beings they're possessing to terrorize me, And in 2019, it got worse. And that's really when they started to use police and all that, that other part of persecution you're probably thinking, right? Some sort of danger to a prophet. Where like kings, for example, their demons would possess them and they'd send out their soldiers to try to bother the prophets, and messengers with violent behaviors like that. Today, there's no such thing, right? It's really law enforcement or, government officials using law enforcement or soldiers, etc., to try to put someone's life in danger who, right? Demons are considering a threat. You know what I mean? The police don't consider you a threat. They don't even know who you are. It's covert. They just set me up. They try to put me in situations using humans who they brought to that environment, for example, to try to accuse me. And then, boom, they hope that you go to jail like that. It's like covert. No one's actually, you know what I mean? The government is not actually saying you're a bad person. You know what I mean? I'm an upstanding citizen. So the demons are doing it. Okay, the humans don't know nothing. And they can't see me. Just so you know, human beings like you listening, you're not going to know who I am. You can look at me all you want. You're blind. So even though I'm different, I'm not a regular human, I have divine missions like a prophet. Humans, can look at me all they want and they're still not going to know anything because God is blinding them until he's ready to reveal who I am to them. They're not going to know. You get me? But a lot of things are happening that would make them be like, oh, thanks for mentioning that, because now we're going to try to put the puzzle together and try to see what's going on. We're getting to the end of the world. We're like at the beginning phase of it. And someone like you has been sent down by God to reveal his scripture. The Quran is corrupted, something that has not been said by anyone in all these centuries, that this book was used to destroy women's rights and instill perversion and sexism all over the world. And thank God destroyed Islamic empires, because it would destroy, the world. Obviously, the amount of perversion in the book of God today, and in these hadith books, if it was ever practiced in a country, you would all shoot yourself in the head or run somewhere. Okay, no. So the Bible has a lot of perversion too, obviously, and sexism. That's what demons always do when they corrupt books. They choose perversion always and sexism. So humans just sadly didn't see the pattern. They didn't see the pattern that, hey, it's always perversion. It's always sexism. Therefore, when they see something of that same subject in the future, then they should have concluded it's not from God, but they didn't see the pattern. They didn't, sadly. So anyways, I'm going to hurry up with this subject. A lot of the things that they believe in the hadith books will happen before this leader, Mahdi, Abdullahi, comes down. Okay, this is who they think this leader is, okay? Only God knows who, if this leader is even real. Only God knows if they're going to be sent down. Anything of the future, you don't actually know. You get me? You're just going to have to wait and see. But a lot of these things they're saying will happen, right, are actually happening. Therefore, then you could at least guess, right, that something big will have to happen. Okay. If you ask me for my opinion, I'm not going to tell you. That's the whole point of my podcast. I'm just giving you encryption, okay, of the wisdom that I have from God himself. I'm not great or anything. God is the greatest. It's just that whatever my Lord has taught me, I'm just trying to give you an encryption of it, because it's not time for you to hear all the information he taught me. Some of it will include the testimony, right, of my experiences of being persecuted by demonic spirits using human beings. It's just that these human beings don't know each other. They're not working together like that. It's just random. So I could go to any country and it continues the persecution. You know what I mean? Because it's not human beings, just so you know. And human beings don't even have the power to do bad behavior towards me. It's extra power God gave the devil to do that to someone like me, that normally they would not have the power to be bad or negative to me. So it says signs of the arrival of Imam Mahdi. Imam is like, basically Muslims have males that they say is called a sheikh, right? Sheikh would be like, in English terms, like a pastor or preacher. Scholar would be more like a scholar, So they just have sheikhs, like that. And then they have these males they call imam. As you can see, they don't ever consider a female to be a pastor. You get the sexism just pushes females away from being given that title. And they obviously don't want to seek it because, I mean, what's the point, right? The whole religion just destroys the female's gender's entire rights. So obviously they just shut up and go down and just disappear. Just become slaves to their husbands or whatever. So they don't do anything, okay? Muslim females in this corrupted Quran and Hadith, they are going to be just like useless, okay? They're never going to do anything in this world, okay? Whether it's the areas that you would expect a society to have, right? Like their academics, their economy, just everything, all the sort of development you expect a society, they're not going to do that, okay? Because that's what the sexism is doing, is telling them to sit down, okay? As well as that sexism is already prevalent overall in the human race. Those evil sexist males are all over the world, calling females who go for their aspirations, their dreams, they have big desires to have business and wealth. They literally call that not being feminine. They connect femininity, which is just the way your body and your nature is. Like the way you just flip your hair, that sort of femininity. They literally connect wealth and education, things God created for the human race. Otherwise, they're saying he only created it for males. They would agree that's not logical. Wealth and knowledge and all that stuff is for us, the species. So they're mocking God, okay? Those males are possessed. Those are demonic spirits speaking out of them. Anytime they say sexist things like this, where they accuse a female if she's smart and talented and wants a great life, and she puts the romantic part of herself in a box, right? She puts it to a certain level, a certain limit. It doesn't control all facets of her life. The same way it doesn't control all areas of the male's life either. He puts that also in a little box over there. He has a job, he has a work, he has a life, he has his own thing too. They don't want that. That's the equality they're scared of. You get it? Because they're sexist, and sexism is just trying to get rid of the equality between these two genders to go and live this life, whatever God has created for them, both of them, such as this earth, right? To enjoy this earth, whether it's wealth, whether it's beauty, whether it's taking on certain subjects of knowledge and studying it. Like, I love archaeology. I'd love to go and, right, study that stuff and study rocks and history like that. But they would call that unfeminine. If, right, a regular human female tried to actually do that, they'd be like, well, you should take care of your man. No. What do you mean take care? Man is not a child. He's a grown adult. Marriage does not mean you're taking care of the other person as if it's some sort of job or slavery. Marriage means companionship. Like the way you walk with someone and you hold hands, not because they don't know how to walk or they're stupid, but because it's out of compassion. You actually enjoy holding each other's hands out of that love of intimacy. Yeah. It's this dumb nonsense of just pure sexism, what it always was in human history, that keeps coming back. Every now and then, it likes to change a little bit of how it speaks. These males might say something like, well, women should work. Obviously, I'm happy for them. Obviously, I believe they should. Boom. Then they flip it at some point when they involve the male into her life, right? The romantic male into her life, or children. Then they believe she should give it up. She doesn't owe the man anything. God didn't even tell her to cook or clean for him. Okay? This is not a slavery. Marriage is not a slavery where women have to do ABC for you. Human beings over history have just accepted these norms onto the female, and they've usually, as females, have chosen a weak path of just doing what males tell them who are evil and possessed. Not even normal males, they're possessed. And in that, they have done that sexism to themselves. So it's really, when I observe the female gender, all I do is I just look at God and I say, why? I know you allow evil to happen in the world, but why did you allow this gender to descend this lowly? Why are they so weak? Why can't they ever have times where you send them great leaders from their own gender who can uplift them, fix all the sexism and perversion, and not one male will ever speak against this gender ever again? Why didn't it happen in human history? Why am I sort of this unique creation who happens to be female? Why me now? Why not past human history? Why was I not born maybe earlier? I don't know. God does what he wants. But humans have reason. There have always been females in past human history who are obviously very strong, did their best. But it's a long time that we're on this earth, you know? Humans really don't think about it. God created way too many human beings if we go back to Adam and Eve. So there could have been great times for women. It just seems like it wasn't because it's so far away. We can't see it all the history. So that's then all you should just remember, you know? There were times that their rights were there because there were times, right, of justice. There were times of obviously the prophets coming down and, you know, maybe God didn't allow them to have any problems or anything through the persecution, and they were actually able to build, you know, kingdoms that obviously uplifted their rights, and strong women were just therefore able to be rising. You get me? Because everything's the same, whether it's male or female. You have to educate them. You have to teach them to be strong, right? You would agree human beings can be trained to be dumb and weak and let anyone, okay, or they can be trained to be strong and fight for their rights, right? It's based on what time we live in, what people are teaching them. And there are human beings you can't do that to. They're just naturally strong. They don't need you to teach them. So the ones who are strong just by nature, they're just born in the tough kids, which obviously means they're in the both genders. They're just very rare, okay? The average, the majority of the human race, it's like you can mold them any way you want. If they live in a bad time of, right, no rights, no justice, no morality, you mold them, therefore, in that bad way. You can teach them to objectify themselves and they'll agree. They're just dumb in that way. Or they can live in a great time, you educate them, then they're going to continue what you taught them into the next generation. It's like that. And that's what the devil uses against you. You, the average ones, are just weak. You, the majority of the human race, are just weak. So it's not a female thing, it's just a human thing. The majority of the human race is just weak. If they just live in a bad time where their rights are being taken away, they just forget about it. They just go into their homes. They don't fight for their rights. Do you get me? They don't use logic. They don't think. They don't. So I don't want to go into this subject. Let's talk about that another time. So I'm going to talk about the things that happen according to the belief of Muslims. Some of these things, right? Christianity has it too, to some degree. Before this leader is going to be sent down, as Muslims believe. So the reason I picked this subject or topic for this episode is because I want to show you the sign. It's not really about this leader. It's about the things, right, that they're saying will happen. Some of it is happening already. And you might be like, okay, what's the point? The point is I'm going to connect some of it to what I've seen that you have not seen. I have told you on my podcast I'm being persecuted by demonic spirits, right? Ever since before I was born, right? Versus like when I was like a certain age. No, it was even before my birth. You know, they already knew you were going to be born, etc. So for that reason, you know what? I'll just let you hear it. I turn off the audio to make you not hear this noise, but I'm just going to let you hear this constant ambulance and police. And it's also fire. Okay? This is one of the signs, okay? I'm not going to tune it out. Sometimes I forget God might be using that to prove what I'm saying because I'm not on video with you. I'm on audio. So what you just saw, right? I hope you what you just heard, right? Sirens, which, you know, either usually sometimes police use them, fires, you know, fire use them, the fire departments, or ambulances. So that is something, right, that you're probably thinking is due to COVID, right? These types of human beings, these types of employees are all over the city. Wherever you go, I'm telling you right now, just go out into your city. Just get out of your apartment or home. There's cops everywhere. There's ambulances everywhere. There's trucks everywhere. There's construction everywhere. What the hell are they building? Aren't people being poor and they have to leave their apartments and townhomes? And okay, this is it. This is literally it. This is why I'm recording this episode. This stuff is happening to me, but it's happening globally at the same time. When God gave the devil more power to persecute me in 2019, the power basically meant that God was giving him the permission to use cops, ambulances, USPS, fire, all these sort of government jobs, these types of employees, which means then what they're obviously called to do, right, is happening, right? They usually deal with crime, and right, obviously then that also means that's happening, right, in my neighborhoods. They're not gonna just hang around, right, for no reason. That's something that to you, a regular human on this earth, you're just thinking, oh, our world is going crazy, it's COVID. No, it's because of me, okay? It's when the gang stalking got to a point where it's a new power God gave the devil to do these weird behaviors repetitively. When demons got this power, then these types of human beings, these types of employees are all over my city. You get me? Um, they're all over my city. It's due to demons using that to harass me. It's never far away. It's always my exact neighborhood. Every like 10 minutes, okay? How can there be a fire every 10 minutes? How can there be an ambulance being called every 10 minutes? It doesn't matter where I go. You get me? I can go to a really nice neighborhood that's not really having that crime. Then they're going to come to it, okay? Demons are going to cause whatever needs to happen for these employees to be called to the situation, okay? They're going to cause the problem. So that's happening because of me being harassed. But because of that, it's affecting the whole world. And it's a little bit, not necessarily the whole world to some degree. Some of it is really the United States extremely, because I'm in this country. I'm in the United States. So it's due to the persecution that these types of things are happening. 2019. But at the same time, the human race overall, and those more in the United States, are also being demonically attacked by the devil. You get me? So I'm saying the persecution got worse for me in 2019 when the world was also being attacked by the devil more. You get me? It's happening the same time. And that should matter to you. You should be thinking, but why? Exactly. Because it means something, okay? It actually matters. You get me? The times that I'm going through more persecution, even though it's a bit covert, right? They're creating situations to persecute me, and it's not sort of this thing that's calling my name and saying, we're going to bother this person, right? They're just doing situations around me. I just want you to see that, you know, when I'm being persecuted more, you, the human race, are being attacked more. I want you to see, why is God making it happen the same time? You get me? Why can't I go through this maybe 10 years ago? Why is it 2019 when God made allowed the devil to have the power to create COVID? Because COVID is not from God, okay? It's a fake thing. It's not a real disease from God. They want you to take that drug or whatever. Not drug, sorry, vaccine. So then they can obviously put, weird stuff into your body. And that's how a lot of weird problems are coming out into the world as well. It increases the power demons have over those people. They're already possessed. I already told you the majority of the human race is possessed. So they're going to have more power over you if you take that vaccine, because it's something demonic spirits made. It just won't stop. You see all that noise? That's something they're doing to harass me. But to you, a human being, when you're in a neighborhood where maybe you don't know I also am in that neighborhood, you just think that's just your city. You just think that's just some... You don't know they're doing that to harass me, though, you know? For example, I was in Texas for a while. Everything was fine, but then things got extremely worse in Texas. Before Texas, I was in Arizona. Arizona, things were wonderful, but then it got extreme. Today, you would agree, they took away women's entire rights to abortion, all of it, even from things like incest and rape. They don't care. So the places that I've been to, right, the states that I've lived in, such as Minnesota, where I grew up, things got so worse in 2019. That's what I'm saying. It's like the cities or the states that I go to are going to have demons come and attack that place more because of me. And when I leave, it's going to get even worse. That state is just going to crumble. So that's one thing I've noticed, that demons are attacking the places I live in, even if it's the whole country. just to bother me, just to create situations on a national level so that then it would affect me, because you can't really affect me because it's covert. The persecution is covert. They don't want to just possess a random cop and come up to me and bother me. They don't have any reason. I'm innocent. So what I'm saying is, they're going to create problems on a national level, on a global level, so that then the things that I used to experience before 2019, right? I used to experience harassment where they're using cops, where they're using certain employees, where they're using certain situations like coming to my job and these human beings just come and harass me. They just want a reaction. If you say something, you get fired. They report you. Today, those humans are all over every job today. All the companies today you're saying are open, right? During COVID, like Walmart. You see all this harassment from customers, just harassing employees, just for no reason. They come up to people, they just start arguing with them. Today they're called a Karen or whatever. I used to experience that before that became a trend. For these humans to do that to others, they were doing that to me. I'm not saying humans were never harassed at a job before, but it wasn't a trend. It wasn't a pattern, correct? For me, it was a pattern. I was abused by that for years. It was just me going through that every single day. It was just me going through situations where these behaviors are happening. Demons are covertly possessing random strangers, coming up to me, trying to create situations to accuse me, put me in jail, accuse me of being a criminal or mentally ill or whatever, the opposite of my qualities. So now it's happening to others. Now they're harassing others with some of the behaviors they have been doing all these years to harass me. But it's just, for you, it's just once in a while. For me, it's 24/7. Okay, so they're spreading the things they used to do to harass me. Now they're spreading it to the country overall on a national level, such as how they would always try to make me unemployed and homeless by always coming to my jobs. So now they're attacking everyone's jobs. You get me? They're trying to cause a global poverty for everyone. And one of the things God wants me to do in this world is to help people with humanitarian type of situations or subjects. Not just one or two, but a lot. So a lot of the problems they're creating, you just don't think right? You don't think it's demons. It's demons, okay? They're just using the humans they're possessing to work against each other to create all this chaos, such as the evil humans in your governments. So demons are causing it. It's spiritual. So for that reason, what God told me to do, there's many things, but one of them is to help people with things like poverty. You get me? It's like I have to then go fix it. So I can't just ignore this nonsense that's happening in this country or other places. And just so you know, I also tried to leave this country many times. And whenever I try to leave, right, go to another country, start my businesses somewhere else, that's when I got attacked more. That's when they just try to steal everything I need in order to do that. And then, right, it's hard to just attack me if the country is in stable situation. So then what they did is they just destroyed the United States. These demonic spirits just destroyed this country. I remember telling God in 2019, why, when I'm trying to leave this country because of all the persecution and harassment I'm going through from these weird strangers who just seem to know me. It's like they see me, they just come up to me. They know how to bother me the exact same way. So that's right. I didn't know they were demons at that time, so it didn't make sense to me. But at least it made sense that I'm not, in a safe position to live in this country. I should probably get the hell out of here. I tried to get out, right? Then what happened? COVID all of a sudden appears. All these crimes and all these situations, then after COVID, all of a sudden starts to appear. Okay? And then you get me, and things get worse and worse and worse. That then made it hard for me to get out. That then made it hard for me to leave this country. So I used to say to God, like, why are these bad things happening in the environment that I'm living in, that because these bad things are happening now would make it difficult for me to leave this country? So I'm not trying to say this to be conceited. I'm just trying to tell you what I've gone through. I've had these types of human beings bother me all my life. But extremely whenever, you would say, I became more of an adult, when I started to really have jobs and stuff, or, went to college, etc. And then Anytime I tried to start anything to do with money, right? Anytime I try to start a business, they would attack me more. They're obsessed with my money. These demons, okay? So then I obviously try to have other things in my life, not just, wealth or whatever. Anytime I just try to improve my life or get out of the cycle they put me in, bad job to bad job, even though the company doesn't even have to be a bad job technically, right? The average employer is evil anyway. They don't respect your rights anyway. They always help the bully. You get me? Like when I tried to help myself by realizing this country is not safe for me, something I cannot see, something I cannot understand seems to identify me and bother me and stalk me and terrorize me and accuse me. I have to obviously leave. You get me? It doesn't matter if I know what it is, right? Now I know it's demons. So then I wanted to leave the country, and that's when all of a sudden the devil created COVID, and obviously it affected the United States worse. Where all the things, look at my words, all the things that I need to use, right? I would start a business. I would get a job. I would, just the things I need. Someone like me who's constantly harassed at every job I get. Every school I go to, any place that is giving me some sort of service, some sort of need for my survival. Even the street they harass me, but it's really places you would say I get some sort of financial from. Like it's like a job. It's really obsessed with my jobs. Because the goal is to make me homeless and unemployed. That's when it's like, in my mind, I'm thinking it as, the devil just thought to himself, right? I can just go to another state. I can just take my time, find some program maybe stay in some shelter, maybe find some people to live with. He knows you can find a way to get out of the bad cycle he put me in, right? I don't get to really select my employers and go when I feel like it. They're already harassing me in this job and trying to get me fired by accusing me. So I have to always jump quickly before I even get the type of job I want. It was just a bad pattern, okay? It wasn't something like just typical bullying or harassment. No. It's demons doing it. So they were literally controlling the entire employer. 70% of the employees would be fired, and another group would be hired all of a sudden. And they're the most narcissistic, perverted, evil humans you can ever have as coworkers. And they're all waiting just to bother me. They're just sent by the devil, okay? That's not something you can handle. Goodness, you are going to lose that job, right? Because those people who bully you out of job weren't waiting for you. Do you agree? It just happens because they're bad. But for me, these humans are sent to the company to kick me out, okay? And it's just through accusation. All they do is lie about me. Usually after they harassed me in order to protect themselves, okay? So I'm saying then, whatever I need to survive in this country, right? All the wealth it has, all the opportunities, it's like the devil thought to himself, he should destroy it so that I can therefore use it, even though I'm just one person. It's like he's destroying the country just because then it would benefit me. It's crazy. So the specific places I usually got harassed in. Let's say I go to U-Haul. Let's say I go to USPS. Let's say I go to the banks. Let's say I go to a job. Just specific places where you're saying their service is really essential, right? To an adult. That's where demons would come using people they're possessing and terrorize and harass me, try to accuse me and call the cops on me. Now, do you agree that happens to almost a lot of people now in this country, right? If you go to those types of places now, there's constant crime, right? There's constant arguments and fighting and assault and police being called. It's like they're trying to do what they did to me to everyone else now, but that doesn't mean it's happening to everyone else 24/7. You get me? At least, right? It's happening to others now. So that explains why there's so much cops everywhere. Go to downtown in your city. They're just parked around random places. They're just hanging around, Because of all the crime that demons are doing. Do you see that? Do you hear the siren, okay? It's another fire. Especially when I'm recording, they have to do this. Before it was so extreme, but now, this sort of gang stalking. But now the gang stalking is getting lower. So, my goodness. Okay, so I'm sorry this got too long. Let me get to the signs. Okay. So in these hadith books, they believe the dark of night will not be deemed necessary for the commitment of sins. You see what I mean? There's crime everywhere ever since the persecution started to happen to me at a higher level, where demons were using law enforcement to persecute me covertly. Those humans don't know me. They're just possessing them and hanging around my neighborhoods, and they like to approach me and try to accuse me of random crime. And you can't be like, well, that happens to a lot of people. You're African too. It could have just been racial profiling. No. Everywhere I go, they're following my area. Okay? They have no business there. That cop is just patrolling my area. Do you get what I mean? But in order for that to be more covert and easy for the devil to persecute me, usually using police, hoping to accuse me of something random, now they created a reason to bring police to every city in the United States. You get what I'm saying? Otherwise, people would notice there's something happening to me. And the government would be like, hey, what are you doing to this person? Why everywhere she goes, you guys follow her? The demon doesn't want anyone to know he's following me and persecuting me. He doesn't want anyone to know who I am or what I'm going through. So he created COVID, which also he caused crime to be rampant because of COVID in this country, the United States, as then a covert way to bring police to every city, every neighborhood to this country. And now you don't know those police are actually demonic spirits persecuting me because they're everywhere in the country dealing with actual crime. You think they're obviously there to deal with crime then. You don't know those are demons who are actually following me. Whichever state I go to, they hope to still have that power over my life to be there with a cop. Because they know I was traveling. I left Minnesota. They know I'm leaving. They know I'm trying to get out of the country, okay? Because of all the crazy stuff that's happening to me. So they're thinking wherever she goes, we have to follow her. But it has to be covert. No one's supposed to know we're following one person in the entire country. An innocent person. You get me? A good person, a good citizen. She didn't do anything. So for that reason, by making every city of this country turn into a place of crime, which now then, right, covertly gives demonic spirits the excuse to possess your government and make them say, well, let's bring police to patrol every city. Every business is being robbed, so let's bring a cop to every little building. Let them be inside every bank, every hospital, every clinic, like that. And now we can persecute her every single city she goes to. If she tries to run away and get away from us in Minnesota, she leaves Minnesota. Okay, I see her going to Pennsylvania. Let's bring cops there. Oh, she went to Arizona. It's easy to persecute me now because these cops now have an excuse that demons created to make them hang around every city of this country. Do you get what I'm saying? 2019, before COVID even started, before anything bad happened, okay? I had demonic spirits possessing cops and following me around. They didn't have that power before. It was just covert. It was just like I walk by a cop and he just looks weird. Like, boom, something enters him and he just stands up straight and he just, like that. It's not bothering me. He's not actually approaching me. He's not actually accusing me. Demons were just possessing anyone that was bad and being possessed, usually really bad humans, but to use just the average customer, average employee, those are bad people, they're toxic. They were just using them to harass me on a daily basis. But it wasn't cops. You get me? A cop wasn't coming to my job and accusing me. But 2019, before COVID started, it was cops they were using. Okay, but a cop can't follow me around. I'm a normal citizen. I've never committed a crime. So how can you follow me around? Aren't you going to get in trouble? So they created COVID and then created crime. Because what if crime didn't happen? They created all these humans who used to come up to my job, harass me, hoping for a reaction, hoping to call the cops on you if you hit them. That's what I had to deal with. Now they're coming to every Walmart, every bank, every hospital, every street, every bus, every train, correct? And they're harassing people. Some of them have guns. Some of them are just hitting people randomly. Those are the humans who used to bother me. Okay, now they're being used to just spread out into the world. Spread out into the world, yeah, but also mostly into the United States. Because it's a really demonic country. It's easy for these types of humans to be here more than other countries. For that reason, now demons created a covert reason to bring cops everywhere because I was traveling. They know wherever I go now, they have that power to bring a cop to my city, just follow me around, bother me, but it's covert. No one knows he's following me around. They would park there and watch me. If you could just be with me as that cop is just parked there in front of my park or in front of this building that I'm in or this job that I have, the corporation in front of me, you just see that cop car. If you look at his face, he's staring at me. He's watching me. I mean, from my peripheral vision. I'm not looking at him because then he can look at you. No peripheral vision. Okay, I'm not actually looking at them. Right? I'm using my side eye. I'm being sneaky about it. They're watching me, okay? They're possessed. That cop doesn't know anything. It's their demon that's overtaking their face. Those demons would bring evil humans they're possessing. They would make a problem. They would create a crime right in front of me. And then they will bring a cop to my area. And I have to grab my stuff and leave. You see what I'm saying? They're creating an excuse to bring a cop to my environment. You might be like, but just ignore it. No, that cop will randomly then approach me and randomly try to accuse me of crime because it's not a regular cop. It's a demon following me. It's just trying to hide itself. It doesn't want the human race to know it's persecuting me. It doesn't want you to know why I'm important. So it has to create a reason to bring a cop to my environment and act like he just wanted to ask me random, hey, how are you? They just want you to think he's just talking to me normally. He's not. So the first sign, right? The dark of night will not be deemed necessary for the commitment of sin. That means crime or sin is not necessary for it to happen dark of night. You know how bad things or criminals come out at night? It's not necessary now as one of the signs of the end of the world that they believe then also means that this leader is coming down. Prophet Jesus is coming down. They believe all these things will happen because they're saying crime is just going to happen 24/7. Night is not required. It'll happen during the day. Okay, COVID started that nonsense for us, which is 2019. The year I tried to get away from these demons who are following me, torturing me. I'm almost 30 now, all my life. First, using the evil family God put me in, who are still stalking me. Okay? They have criminal intent. They're evil as hell and violent. So I obviously don't have any family. I don't have a good family. They're evil, okay? And technically, if you're a Muslim, you don't even have a good family because they believe in the corrupted Quran and Hadith, which is perversion, sexism. If they obviously really follow the religion, don't have a problem with it, then 90% of Muslims are in evil families. So it's not just me, but two, just the idea, okay? They're obviously, some of them are not going to agree with that evil. I'm not in those ones. And I don't have friends either because the persecution prevents me from meeting people who are not evil, who are not possessed. The other reason, the real reason, is because I'm different. I actually cannot be friends with a regular human being because my energy intimidates them. They're scared. You know? Like, we can be cordial, but you can't actually, like, be my friend because you're too carnal for me. I'm just different. I'm not going to tell you why I'm different. It's very hard for them. But really loving, wonderful, good humans, of course, if we met right now, we'd be friends. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's not going to be that sort of friend, you know, who's like them. I'm different than them. It's just that, you know, they can at least be like, write that friend to me at least, but the persecution prevents me from seeing them. And COVID is created to prevent me from seeing them even more, because only these weird humans are outside and decent humans are inside their homes. Okay. So the first sign, right, is obviously happening. Extravagant mansions will be constructed. So one of the things that demons started to do, who are persecuting me, but they're doing it on a national and global level now, as a way to hide that it's happening to harass me, is everywhere I go, there's construction. This is what the gang stalking does. Part of gang stalking, this sort of witchcraft that gives demons the power to gang stalk you using humans who are possessed. These humans don't know each other, but since they're possessing them, they can make them act like the same way, and you start to see the pattern. Some of them might know each other, like they work in the same company, etc. So a lot of the things they do is they create a lot of noise around me. As part of their gang stalking is psychological torture, as well as intimidation. You get me? You're one person, everywhere you go, the same things are happening around you, but no one else knows. Isn't that going to torture you psychologically? Because you don't have anyone who understands it. So as part of the gang stalking, as part of this new power the devil has, it's constant construction, constant maintenance. Like, for example, demons would create excuses to come to my apartments, excuses to come to my workplaces. When I was traveling in 2019 and I was in hotels, every single time they would try to create an excuse to come into my hotel room and be like, we need to fix something. There's nothing wrong with the hotel. It's fake. They would bring these men and they're just knocking on my door. They would send so much fear to your body because it's not a regular human maintenance guy. It's literally demonic spirits possessing them, coming to try to be around me. Because one thing they do is they just want to be around me all the time. They don't have to even bother me. They just love to be around me. They love to just sit there and watch me and monitor me and study me, these demonic spirits. So that's going to be seen in a human just sitting there watching me covertly. They're going to pull out their laptop or phone. So people don't know it's a stalking. The people don't know they're harassing me. They're going to pretend to be a decent person just minding their business. But if you observe them, they're going to stare at me and watch me. You're going to get the point. So I've been saying to God, especially 2024, since I've, been traveling a little more, right? I'm going from state to state. You might be like, why are you traveling? To get away from persecution, get it? A certain city, a certain neighborhood gets too dangerous for me and I have to keep moving. They just come to my neighborhood and make it worse. For example, the past 7 months, I was trying to go to New York because way back in 2019, before I decided to leave the country, right? No, I'm sorry. I actually wanted to leave the country first. But then COVID was created as a burden because it stopped international travel for some time. Okay, then I tried to at least go to another state. I tried to leave Minnesota, go to another state. But I'm trying to start my business. I'm not going to tell you what the business is, okay? Because it's also connected to something divine. I'm not going to tell you. I told you about humanitarian. That's fine. But there's other businesses I'm going to start. Like these ones would actually make profit. It's connected to Islam and, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to tell you. You'll just know when I started, God willing. Also, I don't want to be arrogant. If I didn't do something yet, I don't want to tell you. But I told you a little bit about the humanitarian organization because, you know what I mean? I want you to know at least a little bit why I'm being persecuted. There's many reasons, but at least it's because I came to help people, okay? But the business is also going to help people. I'm not greedy or looking for money. I'm just one person, okay? What am I going to do with all that money? No, the business is going to help certain demographics of the human race, okay? So this business is really important for demons to prevent me from starting, then God allowed them, obviously. He'll allow me one day to do it. But in the persecution, God allows the devil to stop it, okay? So 2017, I tried to start this business. I got attacked with unemployment and homelessness all of a sudden. Okay, I tried to do it in 2019. Oh, COVID starts. It's like, something is always happening to prevent me. But you guys are thinking, that it's just a global problem, but it's actually happening to prevent me from doing something to help human beings. It's connected to when I want to do something, when I'm transitioning to a higher level of my spiritual connections with God. Okay, I'm not trying to tell you who I am or anything. I'm just trying to show you things are getting worse for the world when it's getting worse for me. And I'm not in a bad situation because of COVID, because then you're just going to say, well, we're all in a bad situation because of COVID. How are you any different? That's my point. I'm not in a bad situation because of COVID. I'm saying I was already in a bad situation. In order to create more bad situations for me, demons created COVID. So something they're doing to harass me is somehow harassing other people. Humans who have nothing to do with me, they're hurting the human race more just to harass me. It's fine if maybe you're having a hard time believing that. That's your problem, okay? I'm not going to try to tell you what to believe. Ask God for discernment when you listen to my healing guides. Ask him, okay? God, what's going on? Ask him, okay? Ugh. Tired of these airlines flying above me all day. So extravagant mansions will be constructed. So everywhere I go, I want you to listen, okay? When I would go to a certain city or neighborhood, all of a sudden construction starts, okay? It's only when I go there. And then over time, I want you to pay attention. Over time, okay? When that happened to me for like a couple of years, then they started to do that on a national level in the United States. Just go to almost any big downtown city. There's random buildings being built, right? Random constructions, hotels. Even though people are poor and hotels and hospitals and retail stores are closing, right? Why would you build more? Why are you building more? No one has money anymore. People don't shop anymore. See? Because it's demonic. It has nothing to do with your country building an actual city, building a nice little corporate office. No. It's demonic. Something bad is going to come out of that. So what I'm trying to say is basically God exposes me to that first. I see it first. In my own little city, in my own little neighborhood. It's not going to happen anywhere else in that state. But then after a while, after I get harassed by that, all these maintenance human beings coming to a place that maybe I regularly use, and now they try to slowly push me out of that place. You get me? I have to leave it because every day they're blocking my way. There's construction, even in ways where you can still use it. They're just going to harass me and ask me to leave, even if you don't have to leave in a normal way that construction normally happens. It's just to, you get me? Especially when I was homeless. It's just to prevent me from using any public place. You get me? Because I'm homeless, because I have to use public places, then they would bring construction to it as a way to then ask me to leave. For no reason. When they see that I like to use that place regularly, there's now maintenance. For example, when I would go to libraries, every other day, the computers would crash. What the hell? Just to prevent me from using the computer. These airlines. There's an airline again. It's like every 3 minutes they fly above me. I don't even think it's 3 minutes. I think it's 2 minutes. So maintenance would constantly come to my environment, such as even the jail. They would constantly use those humans who are possessed to break things, do things. It's the demon doing it. And then they would call maintenance. And now they have to wake me up just to prevent me from sleeping at night when they accuse me of crime and put me in a jail. And then they put me in the mental illness location of jail. in order to cover up the fact that I was innocent and the police accused me of a crime I didn't commit. These demons use these human beings to put me in the mental illness location, accusing me of mental illness. Just random. They just put me there. You get me? Yeah, they didn't even feel the need to create a reason or something that's fake, you know? Nothing. They just threw me in that location. You get me? Like, what's the reason, right? The person just got arrested normally like any other citizen. You don't see people being put in a mental illness location because it's demonic. They're obsessed with labeling me mentally ill because I'm doing the same job that prophets did. They accuse them of being mentally ill too. Okay, this is the only thing the devil likes to do to people God sends, to reveal anything about religion. See, there's another airline. Oh my God. They have to accuse that person of being mentally ill before society gets to even know who they are, or maybe a little bit after they know who they are. You get me? To take away their credibility or whatever. Because I have knowledge of spiritual things that humans cannot see with their own eyes. I can tell you if someone's possessed, and I can control that demon. I can tell it what to do. That's power. So they're trying to accuse you of being crazy then. So people don't actually know who you are. Okay, anyways. So constant maintenance everywhere I go. Constant malfunction of the building, as well as the electronics, as well as my own electronics, as well as everything I need. Like when I would go to hotels, something bad would always happen. And then they would have an excuse now to bring me these maintenance perverted males. And they're perverted, okay? They're not going to bring sort of like the normal ones, because they're also trying to find excuses to be perverted towards me, okay? They can't attack you or anything. Just creepy, just perverted. Because they want me to attack that male and go to jail. It's just to put me in jail or prison. So they want to push me to violence by doing inappropriate behavior around me, okay? Okay, so since I've traveled the past few years, even though I was put in a jail for a while for something I didn't commit, I've then started to realize what they used to do to my neighborhood only as part of what they're doing to persecute me. Now they're doing it to the whole country so that no one knows it's actually harassing me. It's covert. Okay? Everywhere you go, you're going to see, especially downtown, all these buildings being built. And they're very extravagant. It's very beautiful. It's very luxurious corporate offices. There's beautiful corporate offices right next to them that people have left and are not using because of COVID. So why would you build another one? See? So it's not really an economic thing. It's not really something healthy that a country does. It's demonic. Okay? All this construction is harassing me when I travel this country. I can't sit any public place. They bring maintenance to me. They bring noise. They block the road. And it's in specific places, like my workplace. You know, it's in specific places of that downtown that I would look for a job like that. It's so specific and strategic. Every city, the places they're choosing to do that construction. You know, I told you a lot that I'm usually at a park when I record my healing guides. The parks would randomly have construction. When they realize I come to it regularly, they learn my pattern. Every day there's maintenance. Like what? You know, I can study the history of that park for the past 10 years ago. It was a quiet, peaceful place. Why all of a sudden is there maintenance and construction only when I'm using it? You're like, that could be a coincidence. You're right. Okay, let's go. I go to another park in another city. It happens again. This is what I'm saying. It's so easy for me to prove. I'm being persecuted by behaviors that don't seem persecution, right? Construction, maintenance, USPS, ambulances, police, because everywhere I go, they're coming to it and doing it the exact same pattern, the exact same times. Okay, if something is a coincidence, a fire actually broke out, it's not going to happen every single week the exact same time, correct? Because it's random. Crime happens randomly. So for them to always at 7 a.m., a cop passes me by. That's not possible for a cop to pass me by every morning running to something at 7 a.m. for 8, 9, 10 months or 3, 4, 5 years. That's impossible. The crime has to be different times. he should pass by at 5 p.m. that day. It shouldn't be every day either. Okay. And again, big cities, right, obviously have certain problems. I go to the peaceful ones, the same thing happens. I go to cities, the same thing happens. It doesn't matter. Even this place right now where I'm going to be starting work, there's construction already happening there. Everything is being closed, like the places I need to use, they're closing it. It's insanity. That city, that employer, someone just suggested to them to do that construction, and that CEO was like, sure, let's do this cool project. They don't know that was a demon possessing them, because that demon knows I'm going to be hired in that company very soon, and they're just waiting to create construction and nonsense for me around my environments that I'm going to be walking by, living by, working by. They do it a little bit ahead of me sometimes, or after me, or the same time, so that obviously right, to those humans just seems like an idea. But I'm seeing the pattern, and it's intentional, and it's demonic spirits doing it. They're creating the same thing for me everywhere I go, just for that psychological torture. But there's other reasons. You get me? Demons are actually doing bad things to the country and bad things to the world. And that's another reason why these things are happening the same time I'm being persecuted, because those are the bad things I came to help people get rid of or have solutions to. So then God is also intentionally putting me in the cities and states, right? Obviously, it's not extreme in certain states, right? God is putting me in certain states where these things I'm telling you are happening more, because he wants me to see what demons are actually doing to the world and to this country, the United States, more, because this is going to be sort of like their place. They want to start a war too. This is just sort of like their place, these demonic spirits, the devil, where they're going to use bad humans to create more problems for the world. Okay, so God wants me, in order to help people one day, he wants me to see how it started, right? You obviously don't want to just show the person the outcome. You want to show them before, right? What the devil, how he was growing his seeds, right? So God is showing me how the devil is slowly creating excuses and ways, frustrations and problems and economic things. Slowly, things that seem so covert and so natural. And one day it actually leads to something way over there that becomes a divine example that the world is about to end. So God has to put me in places where I can see this stuff that demons are inspiring or influencing humans to do, such as building extravagant buildings, in a way that's not logical, in a way that's not needed, and in specific environments. So that then one day when this stuff turns into a problem, right, something comes out of it that's bad, I understand who did it, how it happened, why humans were randomly inspired to do it. Because, right, God put me in the cities and states where demons were doing these things more. Singers would be considered respectable. That's another sign. That's the third sign. Singers, people who sing, they'll be considered respectable. You agree today? Entertainment industry, they're treated like some sort of important, educated, healthy influencers or whatever. Instead of just people just doing something artistic, but it turned into bad and demonic. Most of them are doing evil things in their songs, such as nudity and perversion and objectification and like that. Foul language, etc. War shall be prevalent. And war doesn't always mean, right, world war, right? It doesn't have to be that kind of global thing. War is just war, right? Two groups fighting is also war. You don't have to call that a battle, because a battle will more like an one event where they fought, right? War is just war, as long as it's one versus the other for a certain period of time. Okay, when I was in jail, right, the Ukraine-Russia war started. And God was like, observe it. He would constantly tell my mind to just observe. Instead of, oh no, our world is going down. It wasn't like, right, a normal human reaction. God told me this is important to what he's teaching me about demonic spirits. How is them behind? I know you might think everything bad is going to have demons behind it. I just mean in terms of understanding that the world was about to end, very soon. The things, right, that therefore are happening that would sort of signal that to you. God was telling me to observe that as one of the signs. So I had to watch that from being locked behind bars for a crime I didn't commit as that war was happening. Okay, so wars will be prevalent. Obviously, the devil wants Iran to attack Israel, even though they're not. They're doing the same thing they did with Iraq, where they accused them and then went to war with them. And the U.S. is like that bully that protects the bad one. Like HR, someone harassed or abused someone, and then you go to HR, you tell them you were harassed or abused, and then HR is the bully that protects the abuser, right? That's what like the U.S. is. It's like they're helping Israel when Israel is a bully, harasses Palestine all the time. They're obsessed with them, always stealing their land. And then, right, when Palestine wants to defend itself, the U.S. is like that bully that gets in the middle and says, hey, I will beat you up if you touch them. Instead of, right, Israel obviously just deals with what they did, the consequence on their own. They're not, what are they, some children? Isn't every country responsible for itself? So that's another sign of the end of the world. This country is turning into a hub. It's turning into some sort of a ground, for the devil to really bring out the worst of God's creation here, right? Such as homosexuals and all of these perverted human beings, just the worst of God's creation, and just bring them together. They create the problems for us, and it spreads to the other parts of the world, and now those people have to deal with it. But where did it really start? Here. You get me? So that's why I'm here. That's why God made me grow up in the U.S. so I could understand how demons are really working, because they're here more than other countries. The other sign is that gambling will be prevalent, right? As well as also just other ways of getting money, right? Because of the poverty demonic spirits created using COVID even more. Same way they created poverty for me by stealing my jobs all the time, by possessing all the coworkers, customers, bringing the worst of customers to the place. That company just changes. That the usual customers, the usual coworkers are no longer going to be there. So that's one thing I always got mad about in this persecution. It obviously changes that city. It changes my employer. And I always told God, please don't do that. Please don't give demons the power to actually hurt my city. Hurt this place that functions normally. It crumbles when I come to it. Okay, it crumbles. They ruin that city just to hurt me, just so I don't get to enjoy walking by every street, going to every business and being welcomed as a customer, getting a job when I feel like it, just to hurt me that way. They hurt a larger scale of that environment, not just my neighborhood. Also, so it seems more covert, right? So people don't notice it's always my neighborhood. They make it more of a city, a state. Okay. So I know, right? You don't know who I am, and it may not make sense, or it might seem conceited, but one day God will show you what I'm saying is true. For now, I'm just telling you that a lot of the stuff happening in this country and in this world is actually happening because demons are persecuting me. Okay? That's all I'm trying to say. It's happening to harass me, but creating problems in a way that no one knows that. Everyone's distracted through the way they ruined every environment that I would be close to living in. So that then those humans just think it's a global thing, it's a national thing, etc. So yeah, gambling will be prevalent in the sense that, it'll get worse. Obviously, it's obviously been always there. People will fear living in their own homes. You agree right now, all the crime happening after COVID? A lot of it is happening. First, it happens to businesses, right? But then two, people's homes. I would say second would be the streets, right? The street is not really safe as much. You can't take a bus or train anymore. But then three, right? There's just random shootings. But then three, okay, people, their homes. DoorDash, Lyft, Uber, these companies that I used to love a lot, now they're being attacked. Their employees are constantly conducting crime. The customers are always crazy and conducting crime. That's just a way for them to destroy businesses, these demonic spirits. Okay, so people's homes, right? Sometimes that delivery person coming to bring their DoorDash food, they're gonna just take it back, right? They take a photo, act like they left it, and they'll leave. I used to experience that first, not the theft, but demons always using employees of the company that I'm a customer to. You know, like I order food, whatever service I'm using, the employees always harassed me a lot. You get me, to prevent me from getting that food, that job, that bank, service. It was just always to prevent me from having any service. Okay, now that's happening to you, the human race. Something I experienced for years, every single day, okay? Because obviously I'm human, I can see bad behavior. No, every day, okay? Every bank, every street, every bus, every train. If I try to drive, they will put my life in danger. I stop driving. It was just crazy. I literally drove in 2017. I drove onto oncoming traffic because demons possess these crazy males. They were stalking me around the road. It was right. I'm actually someone that took a while to get my driver's license because of that evil family got put me in. Their demons abusing me all throughout my life, right? Ruining and sabotaging everything for me, delaying me from things. Sometimes when I had money, right, they would act like they have a problem. They would ask me for that money exactly when I got the money. They don't know I have it, okay? That's how you know it's demonic. Only the demons knew I got that money through some scholarship or something that I won, Like, for example, in high school, I won some money for writing contest. Okay, writing is one of my gifts. I struggle to be noticed for the things that I'm good at. Because of that constant sabotage, teachers were possessed to do. They would never give me the grade I deserve. They would always give me a lower grade. Okay, so situations like this where God didn't allow them to sabotage it. I won that writing contest. That money I got, I never told that family. You get me, that I got some money from my high school. But all of a sudden they come to me asking me for money. I don't have a job. I'm just a high school student. They know I don't have money. But they created a sob story that same time and I gave them that money. They would constantly guilt me into giving them money back home. The other family members back home in Somalia. Okay, so for that reason, that's how they would steal my money, through fake stories, fake sob stories, just to prevent me from getting a car, buying my own, okay? Because they're not going to buy it for me. They never wanted to teach me how to drive. They prevented me from going to the mosque and finishing the Quran. Oh my God, you don't know what I went through, okay? Everything was ruined and stolen from me. I have nothing. I had to fight for everything I have. Okay, a cop just tried to sneak up behind me with their car, but I tried to act covert and still watch it because they like to bother you or approach you if they think you're not paying attention. Oh my God, the amount of fear they put into your body using witchcraft is insane. It's not just a normal cop like for you. For me, it's demonic spirits and they have some power. So when they're passing by, oh my God, it's so creepy. The energy is so disgusting. They put so much fear into your stomach. It's witchcraft, okay? No one's scared of them. It's just a human being. But, since it's following me, but it's covert. They're driving so slow. They're watching me. God have mercy. Okay, so, I basically then, for that reason, when 2016, I was actually trying to get my license. That family knew, so they started to attack everything about my life, It's too long, so I'll tell you later in my testimony. But I got my license at the end after I quit that job I had in 2016, because that's when I was really, really harassed by demonic spirits, possessing all these perverted males and females, always trying to touch me, bother me, get into my personal space, accuse me when I would defend myself, like tell them what you expect me to tell them, obviously. They had that quality where if I stood up for myself, then they're going to lie about me and call the manager. It's like they're trying to shut you up so you allow what? You obviously know I'm not a weak person. What are you thinking I would do? It's because it's not like that. It's just to accuse me as retaliation, not because they thought you would actually not say anything if they accuse you, Either way, it's just teaching me psychology of evil too, how they treat others too. The obviously first reason was to get me to kill those males. I would obviously act like my natural self, and I would call them. I'd be like, come over here. You know, I would tell those males, come over here. It was still in a public place, okay? But I pulled him to like a side of the hallway, and I give them a warning. His entire body would shake so vigorously, you know? Okay, so you don't have to be afraid for me, okay? They can't do anything, and the demon and the human is that scared. But when God's power gets into them, then they can harass me in ways that seem like they're not scared. Okay, the person is shaking like that, right? So many males at that job I had in 2016, I constantly tell them to leave me alone. And then the next day they come back to their same behavior. Smirking, laughing, hi Hannah, acting like nothing happened. Because it's a demonic spirit. That male obviously will leave you alone. Yeah, some bullies can bother someone longer, but not when I did what I did. Not when you do what I did. Actually, right, standing firm, being assertive, holding them accountable, giving them a warning. You know, you're not going to do this again. You're not going to try to touch me like, you don't get me? They would try to touch me. They did, you know. And it's so funny. It was so confident. I was literally in group meetings. It was like trainings, you know. And they're just leaning closer and closer and closer to me in that table. Like, what? You're not scared of all these people? Because they're all possessed. They're all going to work against me and accuse me. No one cares, okay? The worst of human beings would always be there when demons think they could harass me because they're ready to accuse me right away, okay? So that's really the first job where I really was persecuted and I wanted to leave so quickly. And then it sort of ruined everything else, you know? I still got my license. But then I would be harassed extremely with criminal conduct on the road. These humans who are possessed, just honking, screaming, you know, just trying to scare you so you actually get into an accident, okay? One time, I was being harassed so much, I don't remember the details as much, but I just kept driving, and I didn't get a chance to really stop when the light turned red. So I had to, like, really pull on the brakes really fast. You know, even though that's not the type of driver I am, right? I'm cautious, I'm calm. I'm really good at driving. Like, the first time, God, this airline is getting on my nerves. So one of the blessings God gave me is I can memorize something, you know? I don't even have to learn it. I can just memorize it. So when I was trying to study for dental hygiene in college, which I had to give up because of that demonic harassment, okay? They just ruined my education using everyone you could imagine. So I gave up on school and I just wanted to start my business. Okay. What was I talking about? So yeah, I would schedule driving lessons, right? They give you like 2 hours and then another 2 hours and then another 2 hours. The first 2 hours, within like the first 30 minutes, I already learned how to drive. I was like, I got this. Everything he taught me, I remembered it. I thought this was the easiest thing in the world. But then I would have witchcraft done to my mind. I'd forget everything I learned. You know, like some sort of amnesia. I'm not joking. I'm not talking about the nature of a human to forget. I'm talking about like some amnesia. I would just forget what I learned. I would get intrusive thoughts constantly attacking me as I'm trying to drive. And then my drivers were all male. So all those males, right, as they're teaching me, as they're giving information, they're supposed to let me drive, right, and learn. They would constantly, you know, get in your way. You know, those humans who harass you, obviously, instead of letting you learn and make mistakes on your own. Of course, it's not going to be something dangerous that they would wait. They would, you know, intervene. But it wasn't like that. I was driving normally. They would try to constantly accuse me of making a mistake when I'm doing exactly what they said. You get me? Turn into here. Okay, I'm turning. And then he just tries to instantly grab the wheel. All that was just so he could touch me. It's just that evil part of the persecution I'm going through where these demons are perverted as hell. And they're always trying to touch me. Always trying to find even my doctors, my nurses, they would possess them. You know? And I have to be careful. And they would try to maybe tell me to go do certain checkups that I don't need to do. Just so they could expose you. You know, like your naked body and like that. I'm dealing with a perverted spirit. Okay? He's just always trying to touch me sneakily. God have mercy. Many reasons, one, because God is teaching me these human beings, what's wrong with them. You know why the world is messed up today is because humans are deep down perverted. So they're not going to fight with corruptions in scripture because they themselves are holding on to some perversion. Like some of them are homosexuals, but you don't know. My doctor's always female, okay? Those females were possessed always. Their demon would try to create excuses for them to see you. See, me, So I can't feel comfortable with anybody because they're all perverted as hell. But you, the average human, think that there's only some humans who are perverted. You think the others are fine. No, the majority of the human race is perverted. It's just that they all get married and have kids. You don't know they're perverted. I know because of the constant demons coming out of them, showing me this is a quality of this human, right? They're just not going to do that all day to all their patients or customers. But because I'm always seeing that come out of them, I know that's their problem. I know if I ever had to help people with God or spirituality, I know who I'm going to deal with first. I'm going to have to deal with perverted humans first. That's the first evil I have to deal with, because they're not really trying to touch me. I'm not someone you can touch. God is making them do that to show me why they're possessed. Perversion, okay? But they have boyfriends, they have girlfriends, they're married, they look like healthy people, okay? But you don't know, which explains then why today people are saying their spouse left them for homosexual conduct. Or they went to some homosexual, they left me, they divorced me. That explains today why that's happening. Because it's not obvious to you that they have such things like that. God have mercy. So yeah, 2017, when I was really driving, right? I drove for a couple of months. Just the harassment kept getting worse and worse and more dangerous on the road. I couldn't drive. Because these vehicles, these humans, everyone's driving normally, okay? Just as you expect. It's just me, okay? When I enter that sort of road, then these vehicles would enter the road. Obviously, there's decent people who drive, but the crazy ones, okay, would enter the road and they, right, obviously get close to me, honk at me for no reason, just harassment, okay, just harassment. I'm not making any mistake and they're warning you. They want me to get into an accident, okay, even though God will not allow me to be endangered. He's just letting them persecute me with that, okay? So in that sense, one time, they honked at me in my brain because it's witchcraft, it's demons, it's not a human. Or you'd be like, leave me alone. You just cuss at them maybe, right? For me, it's demonic. So for that reason, they're doing witchcraft to me as they harass me. So my mind gets attacked. And I just drove straight ahead. I didn't see that I was driving. Okay, I went into oncoming traffic. God did something divine. The entire road. Even though, right, cars were passing me every millisecond. I'm not joking around. It was full as hell. I was waiting, right, for oncoming traffic to stop so I could, right, make a right turn. I went into the left, oncoming traffic there, but I went towards them. The road, all of a sudden, God cleared it. He's trying to protect me. You get me? That road should not have been empty. I don't know what God did, but he cleared it. And this one male was allowed to just drive towards me. And he didn't have any reaction because God blinded him. Otherwise, he would have freaked out. He thinks you're going to try to kill him, obviously. So God made him basically slow down his vehicle. And he looked behind himself to try to make sure no one was coming. Like he was being used to help me, basically. I basically kind of, and here's the thing, as I just stopped, right? Because I just kept driving. You see, I don't know what's happening to me because that was witchcraft done to my mind. Something startled me and I just drove. I'm talking about from all sides. These crazy vehicles are just acting reckless towards me. How are you going to react? You're going to make mistakes, right? So my brain is still just driving. It's gone, okay? It's not able to discern that I'm obviously in the wrong situation. So, right, I feel like I could have probably kept going then if God didn't actually at least bring one human to show me that it's oncoming traffic, right, that I drove into. Since the mind is sort of empty, right, sort of blind, I'm sort of gone. How would I know I'm going towards oncoming traffic? Even though, God took away the traffic. How would I know, right? I probably keep going for a little bit. So one human was allowed to show me that it was oncoming traffic because he was allowed to still enter the road. And he stopped and he knew, right, I'm obviously in a bad situation. And as he was trying to figure out what to do and looking behind and trying to alert other drivers, God is not going to let others really come, right? For a while, I had some time. I was able to swerve. I swerved so perfectly, you would think I was driving for the past 30 years. You get me? So demons are jealous of my qualities, like the mental part of me. My intelligence is what they're really hateful of. So they like to accuse me of crime and mental illness, because one of my first greatest qualities is my mind. Okay, I have no health problems in my mind, and I'm also highly intelligent, and I have a lot of spiritual gifts. All that obviously is going to be manifested or come out of my mind. You know, you're going to see that intellect I have in my mind, right? So they have to accuse me of mental illness, get it? Just like prophets were intelligent men, but they have to constantly say they're crazy, you get me? So that's why they sabotage my education, my employment. Things that would show you the person, right, is either smart or intelligent, because they don't want you to know. They're very gifted in their mind. So if you're gifted in your mind, what do you usually do in society that would show people that? Because people don't know, right? How do they know? Academics, right? You obviously study really well in school, or you have a great career. You go to a job, people can see you obviously outperform your coworkers like that. So they have to constantly accuse me. They have to harass me, try to assault me, insult me, say nasty things to me. They hope I would hit them. They just accuse me when they get tired, see that I'm not going to react. Then they just randomly make up stories about me, and I just get fired just so they would hide my performance, because I always had the highest performance at every job. But then something would happen. These customers would come who are possessed. They harass me. They cause me problems. I have make mistakes now in my computer or whatever I'm using. Like if I was a cashier, it's them who are causing that, so they can lower my performance. Okay, and in those behaviors that demons were being made to harass me, persecute me, I learned the psychology of evil, the psychology of demons, humans who obviously do this to other humans in the world, how they do it, why they do it, what's wrong with them. There's many reasons demons are being made to persecute me. You know, it's so hard to put it into a number. I'm just not telling you the other reasons, because I tell you later on when I do my testimony. So 2017, I just had so much, overwhelmed from being harassed when I drive. It was just horrible. You cannot focus and drive safely. If demons can possess these humans and act criminal on the road, try to put you in danger by making you drive in directions you're not supposed to, So I just stopped driving. That's literally why I stopped driving. The persecution made me stop. So I always took the train, the bus, things like Lyft, right? I rarely took Uber because the drivers are more creepier. Lyft, I usually find decent humans. I would have to constantly cancel the ride on anyone that looked creepy and weird, because a lot of those weirdos obviously take the job. But demons would intentionally put them with me. They match them with me when I would look for a ride as a way to prevent me from getting to my job. And they would always try to make me late. See, another way to get me to be unemployed. You might be like, well, take the bus or train. Exactly. They would make the bus not come, especially in winter. They would just delay it. But if I stop using the bus that day, for the next 3 months, that bus comes on time. That's how you know it's demonic. Nothing happens unless I'm waiting for that bus or train. So they would push me to Lyft because I'm losing more money. You get me? They're after my money first. So, the other sign that the world is about to end and these leaders are coming down is that people will be scared to live in their own homes. People now are scared to live in their own home because there's so much crime coming to their home. Crime is no longer just in the street or a business, like a bank. Your home is being attacked by these thieves, these burglars, these crazy humans. To me, I know who they are. They're the humans who are used to persecute me every day. You get me? But to you, they just seem like some strange thing that all of a sudden is coming out of the U.S. No, it's just the average human who used to walk by you decently when you were a customer or employee. Those are the humans today who are constantly committing random crime. It's not some weird group over there, okay? It's just the average human. Now their demons are using them way worse. So it seems like they're different, and it seems like everyone else is decent and normal. No, those humans who are in their home telling you some crime happened to them, and they seem like the decent one, they're harassing their coworker. There's some creep probably trying to touch someone. No, like the average human is guilty, okay? We just have a lot of evil in this world. When they're reporting a crime to you, you're just gonna think they're always good, maybe. But they're harassing someone the next day, okay? So Muslims believe there's gonna be this character. He's called the Dajjal. They believe he's this male. He's kind of supernatural, whatever. They think he's gonna tell everyone that he's God himself, okay? And that he's gonna have one eye. Really creepy. Okay, only God knows that. I don't believe God would ever do that to the human race. Humans already have enough confusion about who God is. I don't think he would let anyone come down and tell them that he's a God. Especially since it never happened in human history, right? Devil accused prophets of being God, but humans were never allowed to come down, or a creation that would intimidate you and act like they're actually God. Because then, right, it's not fair. God should not send something with power, supernatural power, right, that could deceive you, obviously. So then you would say it's not fair to some degree. How do you know? Right? Because God gave him supernatural power, right? So it's not really fair. So I don't believe this Dajjal character is real, but only God knows, okay? This is one of those things we're just going to have to wait and see. So obviously they believe since he has power, right, things human beings never had to ever experience, right? God never lets anyone, including demons, ever show themselves to you and do their supernatural stuff, right? He hides it. Just like why I'm being persecuted, but you don't know it's demons, because they're invisible, right? So God always has that quality. He doesn't really do that to his creation. He doesn't really do things like that to them, right? Where something with supernatural abilities ever comes down to attack them, because it's not a fair battle. So he lets you just fight with the human. A demon could be in them, fine, but you're still fighting the human body, and okay, you can protect yourself like that. So it's very rare for this to be true, because he's going to have power, right? And he's going to do a lot of supernatural stuff to intimidate humans into worshiping him, So I don't think God would do that. But anyways, they think he's going to come down. So these are the other signs that they're happening now as well, okay? Land shall be turned into deserts. So there's a lot of flooding happening right now. You agree? There's a lot of flooding happening. There's a lot of war happening. All these other things happening globally that would cause certain buildings to crumble. And then over time, things just turn into, you know what I mean? There's just no more buildings anymore. So it could be like a metaphor where things just turn into deserts, meaning like all these buildings are broken down due to all the destruction, humans are doing to others in their countries, as well as things actually turning into deserts because they're flooding. Buildings are flooding due to natural disasters. So that's going to happen. I know that for sure, because it's connected to this next sign, and that is earthquakes and volcanoes and other natural disasters shall be common. Okay, right? So that could be the reason why things are turning into deserts. You know what I mean? Not actually turning into a desert. It just means there's no more buildings, There's no construction, there's no land anymore. Things are just sort of dying, and it's just the ground, the earth, the natural sand that the earth already has. Humans just build a pavement, right? They obviously build roads, that hard pavement, right, that you drive on, or a sidewalk. You build that, obviously. A lot of this stuff behind it is just like dirt, just sand. So that could be another way. Then it's gonna turn into deserts. You get me? Because God will use flooding, right, natural disasters, earthquakes, volcanoes, which is happening more prevalently now in 2024, right? It's happening a lot now, earthquakes, etc., like Taiwan. And Taiwan is actually the country I wanted to go to in 2020 to actually start my businesses. So like I said, it's like the places I want to go to some degree, the states that I wanted to go to, or the ones that I was pushed into through the persecution. I couldn't go where I always wanted. They're all suffering. It's like that. It's like I'm being prevented from going there. I don't want you to just think it's random, the type of countries that are suffering. No, they're usually the ones I wanted to go to. Obviously, things like earthquakes is being done by God. Exactly. Maybe he doesn't want me to go there. You get me? Because I'm trying to figure out what country to go to. I need to get out of this country. So it's like, natural disasters are being done to some of them. Some of them have war. Some of them, there's always some problem, I don't know where to go anymore. So obviously God will guide me to that. He's kind of keeping me in this country a little bit now to do some divine stuff here or deal with it. I'm not necessarily going to do much, but, I still have some learning to do. Okay, and then I'll be allowed to leave, God willing. Good deeds will be few and far in between. That's the other sign. Good deed means like good conduct, right? Like the average human right now, since they're possessed extremely, right? They've always possessed, they're sinful and bad, but the covertness is stopping. Demons are now choosing to use them in a more direct way, where they're not going to act like they're your nice little neighbor anymore. Right now, they're actually going to go out there and commit crime. They're actually going to be more obvious, or what they've always been doing so far now will be exposed. Right? Such as a lot of government, entertainment, human beings who've been raping, killing people. All their crimes are not being exposed like that. So a lot of criminals will be exposed because that sort of time the devil was hiding what they do to protect them now has lifted off. It's time for lies to be exposed. Before, right, God's leaders come down, whoever they are, before the truth comes down, whichever way it's going to come down, I don't know. That's when lies will be exposed. You get me? So that if everything's exposed, then you know what to deal with, correct? You know what to do. You know what to fix. And humans know how to then work with their leaders or the truth when it comes down. They know what to do to work with God's plan. Because now they know who's their enemy, who's been evil but hiding it, They now are more... They now are more likely to also believe in the idea that there's evil in this world, correct? Because God is exposing so many human beings that to them looked like nice, good people. And they've actually been raping people, killing people, harassing people at jobs, being creepy, being this, like that. Maybe they haven't acted on it, but then you start to see their character coming out of them. Some of them making jokes about rape and murder and racism and like that. They just start exposing themselves. But before they had these corporate jobs, they were wealthy maybe, right? Just the average human, I told you, just have nice jobs, nice cars. They all get married, but they're evil, okay? So God will expose a lot of them because of that. Because then the ones who are not necessarily like that, as well as the ones who are like that, now you know they're a threat to you. You get me? Otherwise, how are you going to listen to people or the truth when it comes down and tells you to do the right thing? You don't even know who's doing bad stuff, right? You don't know how to fix evil in this world because those who are doing it are hiding it really well. Okay, but if God starts exposing them, victims start coming out more. Technology and other things are used to... Things just getting exposed, right? Because God just says it should be exposed, right? Okay, now you can actually work, right, with God's plan to bring justice into this world. Because humans have to work together. Leaders can come down, right? But the human race obviously has to work with them to, right? The good ones have to work with them to obviously bring that justice down, right? And those evil ones, the ones that can be saved, right? They're not transgressors like rape, murder. They didn't do high-level crimes like that. And you don't have to kill them. Well, those are the ones then who will be called to God and to morality to change. And they can join this group and work with them to increase morality in the world and justice, correct? Okay, so in order for that to happen, your enemies, those who are doing evil, every day behind your back have to be exposed. Because that's actually how they got away with it. You didn't really think the human race was that evil. Everyone has a nice car, nice job. Everyone goes to school, right? All the civilization. Everyone's just sort of having a healthy experience due to the world being civilized to a large degree, right? It made it easy for them to hide the evil they do. Because of what I went through, things like that, where when I would report evil coworkers who are perverted and try to harass me and try to touch me, etc., when I reported them, retaliation would happen instantly like that, the way they just pushed me out. someone you would want at that company, right? And now you also, let's say you're a good person, you were harassed, something happened, you also felt scared and you just left that company. Okay, where are you and I gonna go? A job we didn't really want because we didn't have enough time to plan that good transition, right? So bad job to bad job. Probably similar things will happen to us again. And we're gonna forget there's good employers usually who are decent enough. You can have a good experience. You're not gonna know. You're gonna think every company is the same because it takes time to get hired, right? Even if a company is really good at hiring good talent, demons are manipulating their mind most of the time. They could bring someone there. They could create problems for them, and they just went with someone else, you know? So they're sabotaging real good people, their ability to really work with companies that you would say are more decent. They're always going to push us to bad employers who are more narcissistic and don't like you exposing crime or harassment. They want to shut it down, you know? Because those humans themselves do something similar and they all feel attacked when you expose them. So anyways, let's keep going. Okay. False people will mislead the multitudes. So there's a lot of humans right now who usually come from the religion Christianity that keep calling themselves prophets, apostles. There's no such thing as a prophet or apostle for a regular human. God doesn't do that. A prophet or a messenger would be someone divine God himself chose. And I told you they're dealing with scripture. They have a book in their hand, okay? And the messenger didn't, but you know, he's still like a prophet. He's chosen in a way that he can prove that to you. Like sometimes humans would say to them, prove it to us. And he would ask God to do something divine, right? And something would happen, something you would say like a miracle. God could do something in the earth, in the environment to prove that this man is from him, you know, because we obviously have to deal with liars, right? So those are the only humans who right, would be a prophet or a messenger. God can use leaders, right? There you go. So it can be anyone, but they're still going to have to be connected to him. They're still going to have ways that would still show you, you know, they're connected to that divineness, right? So unless they have that and they're just a regular person, they cannot call themselves a prophet or anything. So Islam doesn't really have that, but they have. Islam has these crazy males who keep coming out and saying, I'm Mahdi, you know? It's so dumb. And they're really funny because they're really weak looking, just strange males, you know? Obviously someone God chose, their physique just looks unique, you know? Just their body, their eyes, their face. They just look really powerful, intimidating, strong, aggressive, you know? If it was a woman, you would be like, her body's kind of unique. You get me? It's still a female body, but it's like you can tell it's a strong creation. You can tell just when you look at her, she's going to be very intimidating, very powerful to you. It's not a regular human, male or female, how they're just normal to you. You get me? So if God really chose someone, that's the first way you would know. You're scared to death of that person. You're scared of them. That's why you're scared of them. Get it? Because they have power. You just can't see the power with your own eyes. And also because they're under God's protection, you're scared. So unless God is doing that to them, right? He's sending them demons to persecute them. No one can actually touch them. Okay, so regular humans, right? Their physique and their body is just going to look normal. But these humans God chooses, their body just looks unique. You know, right? Obviously, for example, a prophet obviously is going to have to come from a certain race anytime God sent him, right? Okay. But he's not going to look like the average male in that race or ethnicity. You get me? He's just going to look unique. His body is just going to look a bit unique, you know? That doesn't mean big, okay? It could be small. It's just, their body looks unique, okay? Because obviously they're designed differently. Okay. So, right? These males were like, I'm Mahdi, you know? They look really weak, you know what I mean? Just their character, everything about them is just the weakest male you got. So they're possessed and their demon is just trying to bother you. But then I'm bother Muslims, sorry. But the Christians, they have to deal with, usually Africans do this. They act like prophets and apostles, right? Well, European Christians don't do things like that. They just act like, right, just a religious information giver. They just act like they just love their religion and they're just teaching you, or they act like they're a pastor, maybe preacher. They give themselves normal names, but then their way of trying to deceive you could be what they teach you usually. And one thing the devil does is he actually steals the knowledge. Anytime you hear that noise, it's an airline, okay? If you can hear it. It takes forever to pass me, so I have to wait. So the one thing that happens is, since the devil is right out there, he's watching all these human beings and other human beings who are designed differently, right? Like they're supernatural, that God created. He knows they're here before you do, because when they're being born, he finds a way to find out they're here. God tells him, or right, some signs or something. You know what I mean? He does his thing and he finds out, okay, that some leader for God has come down. And as they're just a kid, just living their life, the human race is blinded from them. You get me? They're not going to feel some huge difference as much to them because they're blind. Meaning they know you're different, but it's like they don't know why. Like that, they're blind. They'll just treat you normally as a teacher, as a classmate, they're just not going to be like, who's that? Okay, so since the devil usually knows, he's going to target that child, like he targeted Moses and many prophets when they were still babies, okay? Oh my goodness, you can just study their story in Islam, what happened to, like Prophet Moses, etc., or Jesus, etc. Another airline, goodness. Sick and tired of this. So basically, sometimes God gives them, right, as they're aging, as they're growing, some wisdom, and they might talk out loud. I have a quality of always talking to God out loud. I just love talking to him rather than in my head. I feel constricted in my head. I'd rather sit somewhere private and talk to him. So for that reason, I sometimes blurt out a lot of knowledge that humans don't know. So the devil takes things like that, and you might be like, how? I have proof of it. I've seen things only God taught me, and I know has not come down yet to human knowledge. I say it out loud, and a few years later, or months, I would see someone who's possessed, right, acting like they're from God, and they're literally saying that same knowledge I said. They just have a tiny bit of it. They can't explain it. They're not. It's so obvious for you to know they're fake as hell. But to you, who doesn't have any knowledge about that subject, you might just fall into the trap and think they really know that. Like, for example, God taught me that homosexuality is from demonic possession. These humans are possessed. Another airline. So, in this sort of time that we live in right now versus way back in human history, I'm sure that some of those humans knew, but in this sort of recent few centuries till now, back and now, no one knows if a human tells you they're homosexual or anything to do with LGBT or pedophile. I know what causes that. When they say they feel that way, I know what's going on. They're lying. They're possessed. Their demon is projecting that feeling to them because the demon is inside their torso most of the time. So the torso, where's your heart? Your torso, right? It's the demon who feels that way. It's them who want to touch that person of your own gender or a child. So they're able to then make you sense what they're feeling because they're in your actual body. Get it? You're going to feel their things. So it's not them obviously being created to desire that. No. Get it? They want to do the evil conduct. Two, there's another reason. Usually the demons possessing the human is the opposite gender. So a male is possessed by female demons. Another airline. I'm sick and tired of this. A male homosexual, for example, is going to be possessed by demons who are female. So she obviously can feel, right? Just they cannot desire the human species. But in terms of gender, she can obviously desire a male, correct? Because that's her nature. So she's able to project that emotion to you, a male. She's going to possess you. It's a female demon or spirit, demon just means bad. A female demonic spirit is going to possess you as a male who's perverted, and she's going to project to you that feeling of wanting to touch that male. For her, that's natural, correct? Because she's female and he's male. But you, she's inside of you, you're a male. She then wants you to think it's your feeling. Get it? So I am the first human to know this now. Go back in Christian or Islam, the past few centuries, not centuries. Yeah, I don't know how to explain. I would say more than centuries. No one knows this, okay, that this is demonic possession. They thought they were mentally ill or other things. They really started to then agree that this is how they feel and we should just blah, 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 blah. They want to insult God as if you can actually feel this way. What the hell are you accusing God of? Woo! Another airline again. I told you it's too fast. It's not even logical. Anyway, that's another subject, okay? So now that I know that, and Muslims and Christians and all these other human beings and scientists and no one knows, after I started to create my Healing Guides podcast, and around the same time I was saying that out loud to God, I see these humans who are possessed, who usually act like they're being gang stalked, but they're the gang stalkers. They're all mentally ill and drug addicts and perverted, and they're the humans who harass me every day, who are possessed to do the persecution. They don't know anything about me. Their body is just a vessel for their demon to use them. Humans who are crazy like that, they're coming on YouTube and acting like they have knowledge that only I was telling you on my podcast. So they're able to steal knowledge from people God gave that knowledge to, whether it's me or others, and they're going to come on YouTube. They're going to come on social media. It's a huge platform. No one can ever figure out someone else said that, right? It's too big. There's too many videos there. So you're not going to know the first person who said it usually, right? Demons are going to possess hundreds of humans to go into this human being, their YouTube channel, give them a lot of fame, and they're going to take people away from my channel, my podcast, so you don't know I'm the one who introduced that knowledge. You're never going to know who came up with this information, who God gave this wisdom to. So same way that I have noticed that demons are taking some of the things I say, possessing humans who are the same humans they used to harass me every day, to go online and act like they're from God. They know what's going on. This is going to happen. Oh yeah, homosexuals, they're demons. We need to help them. I get so pissed off, like, God, why are you letting the devil steal that from us? So they do that to prophets, get it? After they die, they took some of the wisdom those men said, turned it into books, put some nonsense into it. It turns into hadith, for example. They take some of God's wisdom, take some of their nonsense into it. It turns into the Bible and Quran today. It's just what demons do. Whoever God gave this knowledge, and whoever is more divine and right like that, they steal the knowledge of these people, and they copy you or copy them. And then that's how they push you to follow these humans who are actually your enemies, who are working for the devil, who are possessed and dumb and don't know anything. They're possessed, get it? It means that human most of the time is like unconscious. They're dead. They got knocked out. You know, they're evil and they agree to what the demon is going to make them do, but sometimes it knocks them out. You know, so they're not always there. They just kind of know to some degree their body is being moved to do A, B, C. Otherwise, how are they sinful, right, if they are not there? When I say they're dead or not dead, so when I say they're unconscious or whatever, I don't mean actually unconscious. I mean in the spiritual world, it's like they're locked in some room, you know? Because in order for demons to use them, they attack them too. It's not some handshake, you know? They do stuff to the human that's bad, you know? They do bad things to them. And the human, due to the fear, usually, again, they're evil, they agree to do the evil, but they're still scared of the demon. You get me? They still are using what the lies the demon is telling them. They just agree with it, like homosexuals just agree with the thoughts in their head. This is who you are, blah, blah, blah. They basically zap out of life, and the demon just uses their body, you know? So yes, they're conscious. They know what they're doing. It's just that the demon has more control of their body, which requires a little bit of this human being tuned out, right? Because two species cannot be in one body interacting with you at the same time. So one has to take more control in order for the other one to sit down, you know? So the human is like sitting down or something, you know, like sit down, and the demon takes control like that, you know? Instead of the demon just sitting down. Okay, so there's gonna be this stuff happening, okay? I'm getting pissed off now as I record my healing guides. Some of my information being taken before people discover my podcast. Some of my knowledge being taken by humans I just told you are the exact same humans who are possessed to harass me every day, which means is their demon using them and the human is not. You know, they didn't come to my podcast. It's just that their demon knows that anyway. They listen to my podcast. They can just possess that human and just make them say it. You get me? They don't need that human to actually hear that themselves. They don't need them. This one says that there's going to be a lot of like, it says post. I don't know if that's a spelling error where they meant poets or preachers. There's going to be many of them, but practical teachers are going to be few. That's another sign, right? Humans were like a practical, see, keyword practical, right? Versus just teacher. Practical, right? Religious teachers, as well as, you know, other subjects too, right? Because now even psychology, everything's being twisted to fit LGBT and all this nonsense. Everything's just going to be like that, you know? Demons are going to replace your teachers, your government officials, your religious preachers. They're going to replace them with these evil human beings who are usually doing these sins behind the back. Anyway, that's why they defend us so much. Anyone who defends anything evil like rape, molestation, all this stuff, just know that they're either doing that behind the scene or they're going to do it one day if someone doesn't stop them. You know, because that's why they're glorifying it. That's why they're making jokes about it. That's why they're acting like it's normal. Because, duh, they actually really want to do it. You get me? It has entered their heart. The evil is in their heart. So that's why you're not supposed to ignore, right, what a human says as just, oh, they're evil. Don't just push it to that they're just evil. You know, the conduct is actually either happening or they're going to do it soon. You know, so they're already creating for themselves an excuse in their mind they think will justify when they actually do it one day, you know? They're already slowly teaching the humans around them to laugh about it and make it seem like it's normal, etc. So, okay, the other sign is mosques. Mosque is like a church in Christianity, right? A religious place basically for Muslims. So mosques will be decorated profusely, but urge towards adoration will be absent. So yeah, that basically means, right, there's another sign, right, that God's divine leaders are coming down and the world is about to end. This other sign is saying that right? And I've seen that myself, right? As I said, I started to leave these mosques. I don't go to mosques anymore. I don't go to any religious place for Muslims because they're possessed, get it? Everyone's possessed. They're demons to bother me, okay? It turns into persecution then. Very evil, harmful behavior. So I choose where I go. You know what I mean? I'm not going to choose to go to a mosque and get, you know what I mean? I don't want to feel anger that Muslims are this evil, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain. That they obviously are not going against the evil in their religion. I don't want to be reminded of that. You know what I mean? Because non-Muslims, they're misguided. They don't know anything about God and real, true morality. Of course, there's good people. It doesn't matter your religion. I just mean the idea, right, of non-Muslims, right? Usually the majority don't really follow God. They're just immoral. They're very sinful, bad. Okay. It's easy for me to be around non-Muslims and see their demons coming out than for me to be around a Muslim and see their demons coming out. Because that's going to anger me more. Because I expect more from them. I expect more morality from a Muslim. Because they're actually in God's religion. So it's going to remind me what's wrong with them. Which is that the Quran is corrupted. The religion is corrupted. Everything's corrupt. I don't want to remember that. Because that's going to anger me. You get me? I don't want to have that way over my head for the next 10 hours. And I get distracted from what I need to do that day. Because God obviously is telling me it's not time yet to reveal this stuff. He's telling me to not say anything. You know what I mean? He's not telling me to go to a mosque right now and tell some sheikh, okay? So it's not time yet. I can just do it on this podcast, and whoever he wants it to reach, slowly over time, he'll open their eyes to find this content. You get me? But I'm not going to go and tell people anything. So since that's not happening, right, things are not changing, it's very uncomfortable, therefore, to be in God's real place of worship. And right, there's so much evil humans walking by, all these perverted Muslims walking by, you know, all the sexism they have towards my gender. It's just going to anger me, and I don't want to be mixed with Muslims for that reason. You know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? Very hard. So I don't mix with Muslims, okay? Just so you know, I stopped doing that. Because when I was young, I didn't have a choice. I was a kid. But as I got older, I have a choice. I stopped mixing with them, you know? And that's another reason why God brought a lot of Muslims to non-Muslim countries, right? And he allowed the devil to destroy Muslim countries because he's protecting women that way. He's protecting children that way. Because this religion, the corruption is saying, you know, raping kids is okay. They call it pedophilia or whatever. And they say raping females is okay. They call it 4 wives. You're just having all these females to yourself. Oh, see, I'm getting angry right now. Just thinking about it is making... Oh, I'm going to stop. Okay, I'm going to stop. So the mosques will be decorated. That's one thing I see. These places, these mosques, right, God's place of worship has turned into a place of old humans always coming to it, taking it over from the youth, you know, and taking it over from what a church and a mosque is really supposed to be for, you know, even though a church is not supposed to exist, right, because it's not God's true religion. Still, you know, just what technically, right, in their perception, it was supposed to be for. Any place that God's true religion, his scriptures, like the Torah, which is today the Bible, what they're supposed to call people to. They're supposed to call the human beings who are the worst of sinners, you know, like homosexuals. They're supposed to open the church for you. They're supposed to open the mosque for you. You get me? Because you're the one who needs guidance in spirituality. Other people who are okay and decent in their morality, they don't really need that place. So it's like a center, you get me, for like a service, like you need a bank service. You go to a bank because you need something with money, right, to deal with your bank. Okay, so if you don't need that service, are you going to go there? No. Okay, so a religious environment is for everyone, yes, but who is it really there for? To really guide people to morality and justice. So yeah, these two religions are, God's religion split apart, right? His true religion is Islam, but Christianity is like, you know, split from it, taking some of the truth from the original Islam it used to be. Still, right? God's true religion is split between these two then. Okay, so for that reason, how can it guide you, man? They're corrupted. This one is false, and this true one is corrupted as hell. It can't save you. So, okay, it cannot really help you. But with a little bit of morality they both have, they can't. Because then you could argue with them on the rest. You get me? That they are corrupted and using the little bit of morality they already have. You can't do that because they don't want that. They don't even want people who are young, who are thinkers, to even come to the mosque and churches. They push you away. You've seen it. There's always old humans in these places. Why are they going there? They don't even belong there. You know? Why? You're so old. Why do you need to go to these places? Usually you stay home with your family. You're going to die soon, right? Your life is about to end. It's because, you get me, usually old humans are perverted, okay? That's why anyone who tells you they saw a perverted human harass them is usually who? Someone really older than them, right? Someone usually very older than you that's perverted towards you. So that's it, you know? They feel more bold as they age, perverted humans. They feel more bold to be perverted to others, like the youth, when they are getting more older. You know what I mean? Because they think they're senior. No one's going to know. They think they're 30 or 40. No one's going to think that way because they have, you know, kids and a spouse. They just think, right, the older they are, the more easy it is to hide their perversion. And just over time, due to demons corrupting them, that's when a lot of them are more confident targeting people. You get me? And the younger they are, maybe they're more scared of going to jail right away like that. Because, right, demons need to teach them how to sort of protect themselves from being seen by others. You get the point, okay? So perversion is just perversion, okay? But since evil is something that grows in the heart, it gets worse over time. Okay, the older they are, the worse they get. So you're going to see a lot of the humans who are creepy towards you at a job, or your family had a get together. You're going to see this older, way too old, right? Uncle or niece or grandfather or father age like human, or You're going to see this male who's like 30 when you're a 20-year-old female bother you at your job, and he's like a team lead or manager. I had, the team leads and the managers, these humans are way too old than me, always try to be the perverts who are trying to touch me and be creepy towards me. They would always act like high five just as a sneaky way to touch me. And I tell them I don't touch the opposite gender. You remember that I told you. I always remind them, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, I'm Muslim woman. Why are you trying to touch me, Okay, and then they act like, they just try to laugh and act like they didn't mean it, and then they get so scared of being exposed, then they disappear. And then they start harassing me at my job. They start trying to call me to meetings in a secret way, like, let's talk about your performance. You know what I mean? That job in 2016 didn't have that as much, but the one in 2018, it was a call center, so it was really easy to just call people, to like meetings all the time, but it will still be in an open space usually. But then, right, when these perverted males, their demons would possess them to bother me, they would try to literally lie to me and be like, you and I have a meeting. Yes, we do. And in that email, I would just destroy that perverted human being. I would destroy, you know what I mean? What I'm saying, but destroy. Because I'm not someone you can argue with. I will destroy you with logic. So the way I questioned and the way I reminded them of the policies of the company, they were just so exposed in the email. I never yelled. I never did anything they wanted, right? Like getting angry, reacting. I just calmly destroyed their lies. And they were so intimidated, they stopped emailing me back. And all of a sudden, HR calls me to a meeting. You harassed him. You lied about him. He's a team lead. He has the right to talk to you. He's a man. Blah, blah, blah. It was that sort of thing that you see in narcissistic families, abusive families, where they act like if they're older than you, that somehow they're somehow dominant and you should obey them. There's no such thing. Just so you know, it's not from God to obey your elders or parents or anything, because that would mean submission. There's no such thing as obey anybody except God himself. Human beings are all supposed to treat each other the exact same way, regardless of the age. So when I'm 50, a young person is not supposed to treat me differently than they treat someone their own age. The only thing is we're all supposed to treat each other with morality, which means we just treat each other justly, right? You might hate this human, okay. That doesn't mean you force yourself to greet them or be nice or smile. That's perversion, okay? You're forcing a human, their body, to be used against them to do something creepy for this stranger they don't like or family member. You don't have to love anyone, like anyone, touch anyone, hug anyone, sit with anyone, listen to anyone. That's objectification. That's dominance. That's evil and perversion. Only perverted humans say that to you. Okay? Those are perverted parents telling you to sit down and listen to them as they talk. They're not your God. You don't have to listen to them. Okay? Only when a human does something bad, people should hold them accountable. Okay, but you can't force that on them unless they've like harmed someone. Obviously, you're going to have to put them in jail or something like that. Right? But if it's something that doesn't affect you and they have the choice to just walk away, right? You just don't like the way they spoke or what. You can't control them. You're not dominant over each other. You're a species. You didn't create each other. You're not God. So they have the right to just walk out of your house. That kid has the right to just leave. You can't hit him or that, because now that's violence. Now that's you committing a crime against the kid. You get me? They have free will. Just because you gave birth to them doesn't mean you own them. They're not your property. Just as obviously, you believe they have the right to walk out when they're 30 years old and cut you off and disown you. You don't have the right to do anything to kids. All you can do is, if they do something wrong, just tell them they did something wrong. It's their choice to accept it. You cannot control people. And these governments, like the United States, are getting so evil right now and so dangerous because the devil wants to push people away from being parents. He's now literally putting parents in jail for the crimes their kids did. They make it seem like, well, that's because the parents helped them or something. We're seeing now cases where the parents didn't do anything to help them with that crime. They weren't guilty of anything. And they sometimes get more sentence than the child. Are you crazy? Every human is responsible for their own conduct. If I have a kid right now and he goes and kills somebody, I didn't. Why would you blame me for what he did? What did I have to do with that? I'm a human. I'm not God. He's a human or she's a human, that kid. What they do is their choice. Evil entered their heart and they killed someone. Put them in prison. Give them the death penalty. No problem. But why would you come after a parent? Do you see how stupid this is? Innocent people, they're finding ways to covertly put them behind bars. Putting you to be responsible for a crime someone else did. First, they want to act like it's just kids. Well, how many of us are parents in this lifetime? Almost every human will be a parent. Everyone's going to go to prison now for what their kids do. Are you crazy? Just as they don't go to prison for when their kids are 30 and their kid commits a crime, they don't have to go to prison for what their kids do when their kid is 5 years old. You've got to be kidding me. And I know that obviously doesn't happen as much. Otherwise, every parent would have gone to prison because a lot of kids are in jail and prison. I know, but I'm saying slowly they're creating this nonsense. It's easy to create it in a European race, right? Since Americans are Caucasian, it's easy to do that because their religion is already crazy, telling you someone died for your sin. They're already blaming someone else for what you do. Oh, what goodness. This is the nonsense that has to happen in order for evil to be prevalent. Evil just means illogic. So if you can't use logic to prove something is normal, it's because it's evil. That's why they always tell you, because God said it. You get me? They can't use logic. So yeah, these mosques, these churches have just become a place for real perverted human beings. Really creepy, looking for young people, to groom and touch and harass and push you out because they like to use that place for themselves. They want to keep it for themselves. All the benefits a place like that has. It doesn't ever help the community anymore. God put me in many churches. He put me in situations where I had to go to churches, or he told me to go to them, and see how the devil is using them. You know what I mean? So I've basically been to almost all the environments you would say injustice is happening, like mental hospitals, jails, churches, places I don't belong, because we have to see what's wrong with it. So it'll be turned into places, where they're just going to be decorated like some sort of wedding hall like that. It says that this is a sign where mosques will be decorated. It means, you get me, they're going to turn into some sort of entertainment like place, right? There's churches now where they're doing hip hop and all that stuff in the church, and they're dancing crazy. It's so perverted and nasty, Obviously Christians believe in singing, right? But at least they do it in a sort of like decent way. But you get me, the sort of really bad way of singing is now entering, right? You know what I'm talking about, like a club or bar. Mosques will slowly turn into that. It's not going to be so extreme like that. The rate of accidental deaths will be on the rise. You know why accidental deaths would be a rise? How can something be a rise if it's an accident? See, look at the word accident. If that's one of the signs, right, that the world's about to end and God's leaders are coming. See, I have to keep saying God's leaders are coming. I can't just say the world is about to end. Because that's why the devil is doing all these bad things. Because he knows God's leaders are coming, right? They might be alive. Coming just means like they're going to come to take sort of like their rightful place to lead, So for that reason, the devil is like angry, right? Duh. Because, he was given some time to chill and do so much evil to the world. But then God sends leaders. Okay, so the devil's thinking he should then do as much evil as he can because these leaders are coming down. And you might be like, but why? Because at least for a couple of centuries, evil will not come back. These horrible governments will not come back. A leader is not only going to have good things happen only when they're alive, right? It's even after their death, people will continue the things that God gave them to help the human race, right? The justice they taught you, right? They taught you what God believes this crime, what the punishment should be, like that. They brought down justice, right? From God. Okay, so then humans usually don't forget stuff like that, right? For a couple of centuries, right? They can at least maintain that knowledge to some degree. Knowledge doesn't get destroyed that quickly, right? Okay, so then after a few centuries, then that knowledge will be destroyed. The devil will find a way to corrupt that person, the books and the knowledge they gave you. Right now, let's say you say to me, for example, well, my real name is Marian, right? But I have a different name God gave me to bring me to this country, okay? So that's Hannah, but Marian, right? If you say to me, but Marian, you're using a podcast to give us some knowledge, for example. How's that going to be corrupted? They're creating AI. You know how AI right now, it can mimic people's voices and their pictures and make it seem like that person is speaking to you in a video. It is so frightening. So it's like God always gives the devil a way to manipulate whatever source of good that knowledge comes to you, right? I'm talking about knowledge. A building is a building, right? It's very okay, fine. It's usually not what he's trying to corrupt how it looks like to you as much, but he's really trying to corrupt knowledge for you, and not necessarily what the earth looks like as much, right? Knowledge is really easy to destroy because the person is not here anymore. You get me? Okay, so they can't be here to verify that's their words. So whatever they wrote down in past human history, there was no audio, right? There's no technology. There's just books. Okay, he can just corrupt the book, destroy this one, burn this one, bring this book, copy some of the words in that scripture from God. The rest he can just change every sentence at the end of it, the middle of it, the beginning of it, and then other stories and sentences. He just puts it into the book. Okay, and then now he can create extra books, just regular books, not the scripture. And these books just kind of talk about certain subjects of that scripture or religion, and they can just bring more nonsense and more lies. Correct? That's how you corrupt the scripture and just books overall that people wrote, such as the books I will write. If it ever gets corrupted, that's how it will be corrupted, right? For example, the first paragraph I wrote will not be touched. The next 10 will be destroyed. They'll be flipped, okay, like that. Okay, but then since now we have audio, how are they going to destroy that? God gave them the power to use technology. You get me? If God himself brings down good things for us, right? He created everything, good, evil, etc. Um, so when God created technology, he taught his creation, the human race, technology, and they use it for their benefit, right? Then the devil looks at it and then thinks of evil ways to use it, like porn, okay? Like, violence and graphic violent video games, and okay, pushing those horrible kids into right, gangs and violence and all that stuff. I didn't say kids, I said horrible kids, right? Because good kids are not gonna do bad things. Okay, the humans who could be corrupted, if you show them evil, that's who he's gonna target. And since he knows this is a good kid, right? Because as they grow up in their child, he observed them. Everyone has a demon with them. They observe you. They know if you're like the other kids, right? They're like, this one's a really good one. They're really loving. I don't think we can ever turn them into a violent human, like beater, like that. We can't turn them into a pervert. They observe, okay? And then they're like, well, at least let's do this. Oh, those ones are really easy. If we just show them someone being beat up, or we teach them how to cuss and curse, they will enjoy. They like sort of the emotions we put in their heart of feeling sort of strong or dominant or whatever. Because, right, they will bring them these other kids who sort of act like they're respecting them or glorify them or laugh every time they insult someone. We'll use that to sort of make them feel boastful and actually enjoy hurting that person more, right? Backbiting that person more, because every time they backbite it, we brought these bad kids to them who clapped and laughed. We use that sort of social fake acceptance to, push them to more evil, like that. So, make you feel cool for being evil like that. So basically, right, they just know how to manipulate something to the evil side because it's easy. It's not intelligence or anything. You and I can sit down, look at something good, and if we just think of what evil is, right, how God created it, we can speculate how, right, it could be used in an evil way, right? Okay, so the devil just thought of ways to use technology for horrible things like entertainment. Before, movies were just normal. There was no nudity. The male and the female acting like spouses were never touching. There was nothing. Everything was just like when you go to a theater, the way they just act in front of you, right? And it was kid-friendly for all of us who were like 4th, 5th grade, who used to go to those, right, those theaters, and we would watch things about slavery, stuff like that. It was entertaining, and it was not sinful at all. Okay, but then slowly they start to enact things that you should not enact, such as acting like husband and wife, right? Because then, right, that's sinful. You're not husband and wife. And even if you were, it's just not healthy for human beings to watch you do certain things in front of them, like nudity and all that stuff. Then that's how they do it. Fine, they chose an actual male and female who are married to do a theater in front of us, and it's just a story. Nothing bad is in it. Okay, they can touch each other, great. But then at some point, the devil's going to be like, well, how do I turn their conduct into sin? Since them touching each other is not sin, right? They're not strangers to each other. Let me turn that into sin. He's going to make them do nudity. Like that. He's always able to just get to a higher level of sin, okay? So it's very easy. You see how he thinks? He just thinks like the example I just gave you, So AI, therefore, is how when God gave humans the knowledge to create AI and all these technological advancements we have now, right, like the past 10 years, the devil observes it and he's like, oh, I know human beings are he's gonna think basically that the devil will have a hard time corrupting knowledge that God brings down from now on, because now we have video and audio, and we didn't have that in human history, right? You can actually see that human God sent down. Let's say Jesus comes down, right? Again, right? Let's say there's a video of him warning the human race in the future. Hey, don't believe this nonsense. I took all this nonsense out of God's religion using, his power, right? That he gave me. I did what God told me to do. Everything's good now. We're in year something something. The next something years, you humans in the future, you better not believe this nonsense, like that. He could do something like that, right? So that's what I'm saying. So the devil knows videos now will protect us from when they accuse prophets and God of the perversions and sexisms and all these other evil things in the scriptures, right? Like Quran and Bible. He knows now video will be a way to prevent you accusing these people who come down in the future when they took these bad things out of God's religion and society overall. Devil is going to have a hard time accusing them also of it and continuing the nonsense of accusing God and past people of it, right? Because it's not just books, and you can easily corrupt a book and burn it. How is he going to get rid of these videos, right? Someone's going to keep it, even if he destroys the videos, right? You can say you can just delete it, ruin it, hack it. Okay, but there's always going to be a good person who has the video, who protects it, right? Just overall, you get the point, right? There's obviously always going to be humans who can protect it, and the devil can't use it. Can't destroy it. So he thought of just a better way to destroy it. Exactly. He doesn't even feel the need to destroy it. He'll just create an AI video of that leader or their podcast, right? Or their recording where he mimics their voice with the computer, right? The robot. And it acts like it's that person's voice telling you that the evil they told you that God doesn't agree with, that audio the demon created using AI is going to say that it's good. You get me? So it's so scary that God always allows the devil to find a way to corrupt whatever we human beings ever use to compile knowledge or data. He's always allowed to find a way to attack it. You know what I mean? So yeah, the rate of accidental deaths will be on the rise. I told you, humans are just randomly possessed to harass me all these years. Getting worse and worse over time. They don't know you. They didn't agree to it in that sense. They didn't see you every day. I'm traveling sometimes and the same behavior, the same neighbor, like same human comes out with their dog, does the same thing the other one with their dog did. Same landlord harasses me the way the other like that. It's the humans they're using, right? Let's say a banker, a landlord, a police. They're always going to do the same behavior the other human who was just like them did. You get me? Like a cop is not going to necessarily do a behavior that a manager did. You get me? Let's say a manager spoke a certain nasty way in front of me. Then the cop is not going to be possessed to speak that way. The cop is going to be used to do something else. And then all the cops in the future will be used to also do the same thing. You get me? It's like they pick behaviors based on the type of human they're possessing. Sort of like their profession, who they are, what they do in this world, like that. Right? Even though they can all do these behaviors because it's just bad behaviors. Okay, so if these human beings are randomly possessed to do this every day around me, God is showing me that then it's just humans just like that, including them themselves, who one day will just be possessed to put themselves in bad situations and they just die. Because they drive recklessly, okay? They commit crime right in front of me and a cop comes to that place and I have to get up and leave, get up and leave, get up and leave. Because they want to put me into that drama, you know? So, like that, you get me? Just as that human knows how to not commit a crime, they intentionally commit a crime. Even though that hurts them. Do you see what I'm saying? Even though it hurts them. They intentionally agree with the demon possessing them to commit a crime. And a cop comes right by. They know cops patrol my city. They know they're every block. So why would you commit a crime? Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not some criminal who actually just wanted to do the crime, but the cop was like something they didn't know. No, they know. Sometimes they can see the cop. So it's too irrational. You get me? It's too irrational. That's not how criminals behave, okay? These ones are so evil that they work with demons in a way that I believe they actually know. I believe demons actually take their permission and say, hey, we're harassing that person using your body. Can we make you just randomly swerve this way, just drive in this red line? Then you, like that, I believe they actually tell them sort of what's going on. I don't think they're just possessed to just do bad things. You know what I mean? And some of them are in other situations. I've seen that. So it depends. Only God knows. So for that reason, They're going to be possessed same way to put themselves in bad situations, and they just die through accidents like that. They just commit a crime, you know? Some of them, they just drive in this area. Let's say I've seen in the news, for example, these humans just driving through this train area, right? Literally, the horn is happening. You know that, I forgot what it was called. That siren or horn or whatever is telling you the train is about to come, right? And they don't care. They just drive it. Like, that sort of dumbness, right? And they're just going to die, right? One of them, their cars got crashed that way. Many died that way. They had enough time to see that and get out of the car, you know? But here they are just trying to drive their car. Just, why are you doing that? It's too late. Get out. You know? So the demonic possession of these human beings who were always possessed all throughout human history, but now their demons are going to use them just as they've used them slowly to create mental illness, right? Demons started to make them behave in irrational ways that then people started to observe and label certain types of illnesses, right? And it doesn't exist. It's just the demon, right? Just as people don't know it's demon, this is also the same. Accidental random deaths happening. It's also the demon. So I know it's easy for demons to cause accidental deaths because I see them possessing people every day, making them commit crime around me, also putting them in situations where they're not going to escape from punishment right away. A cop sees them right away. And it's so dumb. So, okay, then they can do that and do other things to them, then they would die, right? Okay. So accidental deaths will be very high then. A lot of them are just randomly coming up to people, punching them. That person could have a gun and shoot them, right? That's what I'm saying. People didn't do this before. They know that's too dumb. They know that's too dumb in order to protect themselves, that's not something they would want to do, right? They would not risk it like that. They would try to commit crime when they think they can get away with it. But because the devil knows these leaders are coming, he knows God's truth is coming down. Religion will be, all these religions, all the evil in them will be erased. God's true religion, which is Islam, the correct one will come down. The devil is trying to cause as much evil, as much death, as much bad things as possible because the leaders will erase it. You get me? They will help get demons out of the body of these human beings. So if they get the demons out of your body, okay, now there's no mental illness. There's no things like LGBT and homosexuality, which is a big one, the right of LGBT. There's no more criminals in prison, in jail, telling you stories that they really felt that way when they raped someone. They're going to start telling you the truth now, and they're going to be like, no, they're just an evil human. They don't feel anything, right? They're not going to lie anymore and actually act like they actually felt something, right? They're not going to act like sexuality and rape are the same. They're not going to act like homosexuality and sexuality is the same. They're not going to lie anymore and put perversion and perversion and sexuality into the same box. Because what was lying was the demon. If we cast them out, the human will have no choice but to speak the truth, okay? So the devil is thinking, no, like all the bad things he was doing, including corrupting what perversion is by always calling it sexual, right? Like rape, molestation, taking away women's rights to abortion, right? Calling something filthy like incest that comes out, or rape that comes out, that filth is not a human or baby, calling that a child, giving it the same status as normal children who are born. That nonsense he knows is going to be taken out of every country. So he's been trying to take away all the rights of women. He's going after Africans way too much because he knows this race, God is going to finally give them wealth, deliverance, freedom, and a lot of them will be the ones who will spread this religion. He's scared of so many things happening to the groups that he's therefore attacking right now because their rights are going to come back. They've been, right? They've had so much prejudice and evil happen to them, obviously. All these hundreds of centuries. Now that the God is going to help them. So for that reason, he's going to take away all their rights. Even more, he's going to destroy them as much as he can. Because then those leaders and the truth coming down are going to finally bring down that justice from God, guiding them to do it. Right? God is the one doing it, okay? Don't glorify them. God is the great one here. It's just he's going to use them to come down and bring down his knowledge to you. They're going to bring down justice. They're going to get rid of all these humans who are randomly coming up to you, harassing you, bothering you, because they're possessed, okay? If we get the demons out of them, they won't act dumb and weird and irrational anymore. Oh, I've been talking so long. And they're not gonna go down weird, areas of perversion like these Muslims who glorify 4 wives nonsense. They're gonna finally speak the truth and tell you they're possessed. These Muslims, these preachers that promote this perversion to Muslim women, they're gonna finally tell you they're not actually saying that they're actually possessed by demons, and they're perverted as hell, and a lot of them were raped and molested, and they like the idea of objectifying Muslim females in order to hide that a lot of them are homosexual, in order to just hide the fact that a lot of them were raped and molested. They're emasculated, and they just feel the need to use a lot of females to themselves, like the 4 wives nonsense, and they never spoke against it and said our Lord is not this way. They didn't use the parts of Islam that clearly shows you God is not like that. They didn't want to use it. They used the ones that are wrong and corruption and fabricated to support this nonsense even more. They're going to speak the truth, okay? What you always wanted to hear these males say. The males who are sexist and like to act like females should not work and they should take care of their man and children like she's some slave. As long as she's alive from day of birth till she's in her something age, they think she has the right to live her life any way she wants. The moment she gets into a romantic relationship like marriage, they think she should drop everything for a man. That evil bastard will shut the hell up and tell you that's his demon possessing him to say that. And he doesn't believe that's normal, nor does he think that's right. He's going to stop lying to you, and he's going to tell you that's sexism and it's not from God. Do you get me? Okay. So these types of males, these types of evil females who also support them, sadly, these types of criminals, these types of weird, nonsensical things that don't make any sense like COVID, is therefore going to be all you see for the next few years until God sends the leaders to erase it all. So before they erase it, you get me, the devil's going to do that to you every day. He's going to ruin your life, ruin this country, ruin every country. It's already immoral. This world is already immoral. He's going to make it more immoral, more worse. The little bit of civilization they had, like abortion rights, he's going to get rid of it. Because, exactly, humans don't have to fight anymore to preserve a little bit of morality to the best of their ability when governments push them down, when the average human is evil and supports evil. Like a lot of evil females themselves tell you abortion is bad. They're stupid as hell. All this nonsense. The devil knows. Humans don't have to talk to each other anymore who are decent. The decent ones he knows don't have to ever convince these wicked ones to shut up and stop lying and tell the truth. And what are you talking about? You and I are human. We know this is bad. Why are you glorifying it? He knows these people don't have to suffer anymore. And preserving these basic foundations of a civilized country, he knows the leaders are enough to just give you the intellect, the wisdom, the logic you all don't seem to have, and that you're ignoring to some degree that you already know in your heart, but you're lying. He knows they're intelligent enough to shut it down, all the lies you make you speak the truth, and give you more wisdom, show you who your enemies are, teach you how to defeat your enemy, cast the demons physically out of your bodies so you don't have these bad qualities of immorality anymore and mental problems. And now he knows the world will become just. They don't have to go to war. They don't have to kill anybody. They'll just give you knowledge and wisdom, and people who really want to change, people who are good and just wanted help. They're not, strong enough to deal with all the evil in this world. They're going to join, and humans will work together to bring down the justice, right? With these leaders guiding them. It's that simple. He knows the leaders are strong enough to do it because they're supernatural, get it? Demons are supernatural. You can't seem to fight with evil humans and governments, and you always have to die through some weird war they did for you, correct? You just wanted to talk, but they always go to war with you. Supernatural people are going to find a way to not allow that to happen. To not allow that to happen. They have a way to just cast the demon out of that human who's saying, I want to get a wood. They're just going to tell his demon to die, And the male will just crumble in front of you. He'll shake like someone who had some sort of poison into their body, The demon is the enemy. The demon is the one saying, let's go to war. The demon is the one saying that sexist stuff in a male's body. Those males are emasculated and weak, and they're hiding something from us. They just like to go after women's rights in order to, hide something about themselves. It's not really about let's just bother females. No, they're hiding something from us. They're weak as hell. So they don't want you to know they're weak. They think going after women's rights, being jealous of them, because they are jealous of women, if they're sexist, they're using their jealousy of women. They want to hide that from you, that is jealousy, by making it seem like it's just her nature that they're reminding her of. Why do you seem to always remind her then? If something is someone's nature, they'd figure that out themselves. Why does the other gender always have to remind you? Shouldn't you know what your nature? Have you seen women ever tell men what to do? It's very rare. It's always men telling women what to do, because it's lying. They're lying. If it was actually a nature of a female to be a certain way, a man doesn't have to tell her. She would figure that out herself. Goodness is her nature then, right? But for some other group over there to always think they should tell you how to behave is because they're lying. They don't have the right. Whatever they're telling you to do is not your nature. So because it's not true, right, what they're telling you to do, it's bad. They're always therefore forcing it on you. You get me? If it was actually normal and good, you'd figure it out yourself. They don't have to keep telling you. They're always telling you and forcing it on you, and you're resisting because it's evil they're telling you to do to yourself. So since males can't dominate and control females, their permission is needed. A female has to agree with sexism. She has to agree with perversion. She has to agree with this nonsense that if she has a male in her life, she should give up her education, her job. She should just stay home, just cook and clean for him, be his maid. It's a maid they're asking for. They're not asking for a companion, which is a wife. So in order, you get me, it's an entire gender. You cannot tell an entire gender, we're going to come to war with you if you don't. But no. There's a reason why males never go to war with females. Please don't say it's about strength. Please don't bring muscles into this. Okay? You see police arresting females and killing them every day if they're criminals too. Don't bring this nonsense to me. It's because it's something that she has to agree to in order for the world to function the way they want, right? They need these females to be in these situations with them where they call it a marriage or dating. She has to consent to it. It's the type of abuse where you need to be that sort of submissive one. You have to agree to it in order for that abuser to get what they want from you. So they have to teach females every day to shut up. This is from God. This is your nature. Society becoming more civilized is corrupting you of your nature. Blah, 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 blah. They need her to actually agree to be evil to herself and do that for him. They can't force it on her because God doesn't give them the power to force it on the gender. It would destroy the human race. Right? Imagine males going to war with females. There's only two genders. The whole world would be destroyed, okay? So they make these weak females, keyword weak, they make them do what they want. If they ever get up and say no, males will leave this gender alone. It's just not someone they can kill off if they tried, because they need the gender. This gender is needed in this world. We cannot have one gender. We need both males and females. So no one's going to kill anybody. Do you get what I'm saying? The other one has to submit to the nonsense this one wants. Otherwise, evil cannot flourish. So it's the easiest evil to get rid of. Females are dealing with the most easiest evil in the world. Right? Because there's other evils with humans overall. Try to force things on each other who are evil, right? And they kill each other. Oh, but this one is different. If a male says that he's Muslim, God told him to have 4 females, it's a wife, it's not rape, it's not perversion. He's not selling them and destroying and dominating them. He likes to give it different words. Unless those females agree to that, you do know he can't do it, right? You do know he's not going to just go grab 4 females for a Muslim. You do know that's not possible, right? That's why I'm saying I wish females knew that. There's a lot of evil God created. Correct? Murder, theft, etc. There's a lot of evil. A lot of them you can just go and force or attack people. You get me? Like their sort of agreement doesn't have to be required, like war. You can just burn a building down. Did the building agree for you to burn them down, the people inside? No. So there's evil like that. Very easy to get away with it. But sexism and perversion to females is the easiest evil to get rid of, because females, their consent is needed. They have to agree with the sexism. They have to be submissive to these males and cook and clean for them every day. be slaves to them, give up their professions. And then that gives them false evidence now, right? Since these females agreed to it in the majority, only some are fighting. Then they're going to be like, look, everyone, females are not scholars. They're not preachers. They're not big scientists. They're not anything. Even if they have accomplished something, there's a male who accomplished it too. Therefore, your gender is weaker than us. It's just the devil needs you to give up the qualities that God gave men and females, both, the human race, which is everything in this world. You're supposed to both do it together. Every academic subject, you're both supposed to go into it because it's just knowledge. It's just wisdom. It's just the earth. I can study the grass the same way you can. What does the person's gender have to do with it? So you need to push this gender away from their natural right to enjoy this earth the same way a male does, which is usually through working, right? Some subject. They need them to do that. They need females to agree to sit down and give it up. So then they can use the fact that, right, they did that. They were made to do that. They were forced and pushed to do that. Guilting, shaming, lying, manipulation, whatever. Witchcraft, fear, intimidation, threats. They're going to then use the outcome, right? The outcome wasn't due to her nature, right? She didn't naturally tell you that's what she wants to do. You told her. Therefore, it's not her nature and it's not from her natural mind or God. You indoctrinized her. You made her that way. So because you made her that way, just like a victim allows themselves to be raped by an abuser the second time, the third time, they told to shut up and they actually shut up. Because you made them that way, now the outcome, keyword outcome, the result. Weak, submissive, dumb females who don't know anything. Now these males, since they're demonic spirits, they're not real males, they're going to use that as a false evidence to say this is actually the way females are. Get it? What they force them and push them into becoming. It's like you bullying a child every day as a parent, beating them up every day, telling them they're stupid, they're not good enough. And the child gives up every subject in their school. They just drop out. And now you go to the community and say, everyone, look, this kid is dumb. I have tried everything for this kid. I have tried to help him, but he's dumb or she's dumb. Therefore, this kid is just born this way. It's like that. You made them do it through force. Force is not always with guns, right? It's also mental force. You mentally manipulate the human to agree with you, to hurt and harm and do evil to themselves. When they agree to it and become stupid, now you use that the consequence of them not having the quality they were supposed to have. You're going to make it seem like they don't have it because they can't have it versus you made them not even try to have it. Do you get what I'm saying? So the same way males go after females' rights is the same way rapists go after victims. It's the same way murderers go after victims. It's the same way blackmailers go after victims. People just think this is different when it comes to sexism. It's not. They're trying to get you to agree to be silent. They took away your rights all throughout human history. The devil hates women because he's male. He's going after this gender's rights all throughout human history. So it's not just a one-time thing. It's the entire human race, no matter what time you go back in, that you're going to see these females allowing themselves to have their rights taken away. They don't fight. Fight doesn't mean gun, okay? It just means fight. They don't say or they don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't go to God and ask for help. So for that reason, right, just like Africans were pushed down and pushed down and pushed down, not all of them are like that, right? But those who have been destroyed by the European, the evil humans in the European, are you now going to say Africans are naturally dumb and stupid and their countries are always poor? No. You know it's through slavery and war. You know these humans are psychologically broken. They have been broken psychologically. They really have accepted the weakness that was projected to them, that the abusers put into them. And a couple of billion years ago, Europeans felt the same way. Africans did that to them. Just stop this nonsense, okay? The evil male, the way he targets the female with sexism and perversion, is the same way all abusers target victims. But no one wants to see the connection. That is the same tactic. The victim needs to consent. You need to agree for years and years and centuries to allow yourself to live your life the way the abuser tells you to live your life, to shut up and do what they think your nature is. Now they can say, look, for centuries this group was like this, therefore it's their nature. They're going to use that as evidence. But if you said no, now they can't lie, because people are going to be like, what are you talking about? I see great intelligent women all around me, or smart women all around me. They're going to be confused when you insult the gender, because every female said no. You see what I'm saying? So they need false evidence, right? Usually these males, when you confront them, they always like to say to you that it's not just an opinion, they have evidence. And they use the fact that females usually are not in charge of society, right? Males are, as a way to then say they can't also do it with them. That's because you push them away from society. Just like you pushed Africans away. Every time their males grow up to be a certain age, they find a way to racially profile and kill their teenage boys and males and just older males. So that then, right, the male gender is destroyed from the African, right? And the females are left over. The females are indoctrined and turned into, they're manipulated, just like the female gender overall. Majority of them were manipulated all throughout human history till now. And they try to marry their African females. A lot of these Europeans, their reason for actually hating the African is because they're intimidated by this race marrying their own people. These European males, if you study slavery, why it happened, you think it's just hatred. No. A lot of European males, okay, keyword a lot, not all of them, goodness. A lot of them are scared of African men marrying their female Europeans in their race. They're actually scared of that. They don't like that. Because a lot of European females just like African men, you know? Sometimes more than the European male. So they're intimidated and they go after the African male. They always profile him, accuse him, put him in prison, accuse him of mental illness. That's why they don't do it as much to the female, because exactly, you get me? They're jealous of the males. The males are the ones who are the problem. So then when the females also target the male who's African, there you go. The devil doesn't want you to know that. He doesn't want you to think these European females who are harassed and obsessed with Africans, that they actually want to be with the males of the African race. They don't want you to know. It's that type of creepy attachment. Because they make her harass the African male, get it? So you don't know she actually wants him. Because obviously it's not love, it's not sexual. If something is love or sexual, then obviously you treat them with compassion. It's perversion. Okay, they're jealous, or they think these people are at least desirable in that way, but they're evil humans. You get me? Of course, the good ones also desire them the healthy, normal way. And those are the ones who probably are the reason these evil ones are trying to get rid of the African. I'm just saying, the ones who are also evil, right? Some of them obviously are attracted to the African, but then you get me? Internally, they're thinking they're not going to let you know that about themselves. So they're going to act hateful to you. Just like most of the humans who harass you or bully you actually admire you. They're jealous of you. They don't hate you. But they don't want you to know that they think so low of themselves and so high of you. So they harass you. So you think the harassment is what they really feel. Because harassment obviously depicts what? Hatred towards you, right? Well, they don't feel hatred towards you like that. So for that reason, they have to do that. Okay, there's a random cop car again, parking in a random spot in the road, just watching me right now. I'm gonna wait, okay? God have mercy. They're driving so slow. Because I was kind of distracted right now. It's what I have to deal with. What reason does a cop have to bother me like that? Unless he's possessed and a demon. You get me? There's so many people here in their cars just parking here. It's a public place. They randomly like to just stop in the middle of the road. I'm talking about the middle of the road. It's not a place to park or anything. When they think I'm really distracted, because I was really engaged in what I was saying. Okay, so the evil human beings who are intimidated by the Africans, their own race, wanting them sexually, they think they should attack those people and get rid of them. It's really that simple. As well as other ways of being jealous of the African, just other qualities you would say God just gave them that are good to have. Whew. And there you go. The devil possessed a lot of the Africans, turned them into the worst type of victims, the ones who actually glorify their abusers, right? They're obsessed with Europeans. They don't want to leave this country. Anytime other Africans like me, or races, or ethnicities, we tell these people to leave the United States, go to your continent, or use this place for positive things like that, right? But that these people will never accept you. They don't want to listen to us. These people will never accept them, okay? These African Americans will never be loved or accepted. These children are the ancestors of those humans who enslaved them, right? They're all possessed, and they're going to continue the bloodline, evil qualities of their own ancestors. There's only a few of them, these Caucasian, that are good people. But this country's not going to change, okay? This racism European has is not going to go away. Okay, and healthy Africans know that, and they don't ever act dumb with that, But some of these human beings, like African Americans, don't want to listen. Obviously, a lot of Africans ran away and went back to their continent. A lot of Africans just died in that way of running away. Those are the healthy humans. Those are the humans like today who try to immigrate from a country when their country is about to go to war. Healthy humans. They do what God created you to do, run away from danger. But there are some dumb humans. Again, it's a human quality for some humans, and it's not a race thing. I'm just telling you, this group of humans, what they did, who happened to be in the African, they actually allowed themselves to do what their abuser wanted. They were like animals. They were like cattle. Some of them would just be told to procreate with others, and just so disgusting. I'm ashamed when I hear about these Africans who were enslaved, who stayed and literally allowed themselves to be treated worse than an animal by their own species equal to them. Ugh, so don't put us all in a box, okay? Before I explode, I'm going to go to the next example. The rich will become godless, and the devout will become sinful. Devout really just, not in today's term, no one's really devout, except a few humans, only God knows. Everyone's evil because they agree with perversions and sexisms. It just means those who are kind of decent, they're going to be sinful, okay? Such as I tell you every day. Humans are agreeing with evil in their religions. So sinful in that sense, right? They became evil. Okay, and then the rich, right? You and I know the wealthy. Every country you go, they don't like to usually believe in a God, right? Okay, so that's what it means. The whole idea of a God, they'll just say no. While the other humans who you would say are at least agreeing to existence of a God, they'll be so sinful. You get me? They're so bad, they're so evil, and it doesn't even benefit them. They're going to go to hell anyway. Leaders of opinion will be corrupt and overbearing. So, again, Muslims don't want to connect us to themselves, right? Because this is saying Muslim leaders will be corrupt. Their opinion will be false and bad, the opinions they make about a certain subject in Islam, about morality. They want to act like this is a future thing, and they right now, the way they are right now, this immoralities of perversion and sexism in Islam, they want to act like that's moral, but then future people will just become corrupt. Oh, the humans in these two religions are so evil. Again, others too, but basically these humans who promote religion, But they promote the evil in religion, such as perversion, sexism, which is just objectification and destroying the human and their honor. They're the most evil, you get me? Because they're using God to defend something, such as those who are Republicans. They, for some reason, always use religion technically to support abortion. Wait a minute, aren't we different religions? Why are you using that? Isn't this a country separation of church and state? Two, why are you even using that? You should use logic to show something is moral. That doesn't mean then God gets kicked out for things that are really moral. No, I just told you, if something is moral and it's from God, God taught you to know it's moral through logic. You get me? So you're never going to be able to lose him or anything. It's when you don't use logic that you can go away from God and connect something to him that's not connected to him, such as perversion. Because you're getting rid of logic, you get me? You're just using his name. He's not going to speak to you, right? He's not going to stop you. So it's easy to accuse him. False witnesses will be accepted and true ones will be rejected. They're saying that's another sign of the end of times. That's obviously already happening, right? A lot of humans who are just lying randomly, even us who are maybe watching it from the news can see that the judge will just accept the testimony. Those who are saying valid things that should be investigated more, or maybe it's enough evidence, they're just going to be rejected. And there are people being, right, put in jail or prison every day for things they didn't commit without any real healthy investigation or real evidence. And others, right, they get arrested every day, like these migrants who actually do really big, bad criminal conduct, like violence to people, and they just get bonded out the next day. Because this idea of migrants entering a country like this that doesn't like illegal immigrants, any country needs to have a way to, right, stop criminals from coming in rather than just regular humans coming in because of persecution or something, right? You create ways to then make sure, right, that they behave, right? They don't bring problems to you. Out of humanity, you help them. Okay, but you get me. Usually humans coming in illegally, they're already doing it illegally because they're criminals. You get me? Someone's not going to really enter your country, even if they're running from something in an illegal way. You get me? They're going to find a way to maybe contact you or beg you. And then when you say, okay, I'll let you enter the country because I can see you're something's persecuting you, some danger, and you're not a bad person running away from right punishment. You're actually an innocent person being persecuted instead of, or maybe your country's just having turmoil like that. You're not a bad person in that sense. Then they're willing to wait for you, you get me, at wherever these people usually wait, like the border or whatever, or some other area, until you help them get in legally, you get me. They're willing to wait and go through the paperwork. Correct? Because they don't have any intention to hurt you or your country. So when they're just running into your land illegally, they don't want to ask you for help. You know how human beings sometimes can ask a country for help, right? A whole mob of humans can come together who want to run away from a country because there's a civil war. You agree, they're human. They know how to contact a country, right, their government, and be like, can you accept us? We really need help. That's another way humans in past history would ask you to let them into their land, and these were decent people who wanted to live a normal life. You get me? Just like when you're asking people for money, you ask, you beg if you sometimes, right? But you don't take their money. Okay, now you're a criminal. Good people will never steal or hurt you because of some danger they're going through. That's what it means to be a good person. You're running away because something bad's happening to you, so you don't have the heart to do that to others. You think that's so horrible. The same way it would hurt you if someone stole from you. You're not going to steal from others. You see, that's how good people think. Whatever they would not want to happen to them, they cannot do it to others. That's it. So good people don't commit crime, okay, in order to protect themselves. That's nonsense the devil likes to create. And also possessed a female one time when I was young in college. Her demon will constantly argue with me that she can eat nasty things like, I don't know what it was. I think it was stool, or I don't know what she was talking about. Not stool, what was it? Was it pork? It was something basically sinful. That her demon was trying to argue with me that God doesn't mind if you eat it if you're extremely hungry. And I would use logic to shut it down. The demon would not stop. Every time I defeated it, it would nod their head and leave me alone. And then it would talk again. It would talk again. It was just not human at all. Just the energy it had to just repeat the same thing to me, no matter how many times that we finished this. So, yeah. These humans are possessed, okay? When they're trying to push something onto you that's not logical, healthy, decent, humane, loving at all. And they just have so much energy. You're thinking, why don't they get tired? Because it's a demon. The demons really, really are evil. Really, really, really want to destroy the human race. They have an agenda that's beyond your understanding. They hate you more than you can ever imagine. Therefore, their energy is endless. It's that simple. I'm running out of my charger. It's like 12% right now. I need to hurry up so I don't lose this audio. And I need to go. There's a lot of stuff. Maybe I should do a part 2. What do you think? Because I feel like it's too long. Yeah, I'll finish with this one. The Quran will be considered as an old ancient book. Again, when people like me come out because of God himself telling me to do this, telling me to tell the human race and Muslims foremost that the Quran is corrupted, that my Lord is not evil the way they tell you he is. He doesn't hurt females the way they tell you he does. Okay, this obviously could be used against someone like that, right? Where people will be like, well, you're saying the Quran is an ancient, old, bad book. You're not respecting it, blah, blah, right? People who actually come down to tell you something is corrupted when it really is, right? They're telling you the truth. The devil could obviously use the fact that humans before them already lied and made, right, God's book corrupted. And they're the ones, right, who would usually, when the book is not corrupted, right, when it's not corrupted, turn it into an ancient, boring book to just ignore. He could use that concept that we know can happen in a situation that is not true, in a situation where someone is telling you the book is corrupted, such as me, and it really is corrupted. So yeah, because the devil has to do that. He has to sometimes, when these signs of the end of the world, humans compile some of the truth about it, he also puts some lies into it. But in another context could be logical, right? A book could obviously be considered a dumb ancient book when it's a healthy book, correct? So he's going to use that, but in a wrong context, in a time that, right, someone like me would tell you this book is corrupted, the Bible is corrupted. Okay, so if I'm telling you to ignore the evil in them and not accept it, that's true, that's good. But this, right, this quote that I just said, this example of one of the things that can happen in human history, which already happened in human history, the devil could twist it and make human beings think that when the leaders actually come down and they tell you, hey, like the prophet, they believe prophet Jesus will return. When he comes down, for example, let's say he does, okay, let's say it's true. Then, okay, they could still mock him and be like, you're not really Jesus. How do we know? You get me? The same thing can still happen. Because if they couldn't recognize him before, if they couldn't respect who he was before, and his ethnicity among the European race tried to, persecute and kill this person, right, with God's permission, the devil gave him this extra power. Goodness, God gave the devil this extra power. Goodness, my words got ruined. You get me? Obviously, God can allow the same thing to happen again, right? A prophet comes down, but there's no way for you to know, right? Do we know who Jesus, what he looked like? No, right? So even if he was here, you get me? The same thing could happen. These humans could also be like, you're a false one. Oh, you're telling us these books are bad? Well, that's because you're the liar. The same thing could happen again. So what is that prophet going to tell you if he was actually going to come down? He's going to tell you these books are bad. He's going to tell you the scriptures are bad and corrupted. So then the devil protects himself from you agreeing with that truth by already, before he even comes down, before leaders like him come down, he's going to tell you that people will come down and tell you that these books are going to be some useless thing and you should ignore it, right? He's going to tell you that there are humans who will come down and tell you that they consider the Quran an ancient old book that's corrupted and is no longer a healthy book. They consider the Bible ancient old book that's corrupted and no longer the original healthy one. You get me? He has to tell you people will come down and tell you these books are corrupted, and tell you that those people are bad, that they're false leaders. So then when they do come down, you actually treat the real leaders as false. He's setting you up and setting them up for disaster. Yeah, but the world is about to end. We're not going to have this nonsense repeat anymore, right? So don't worry about it. God will fix that. So I'll end it with this. The next recording will be the next examples that or the signs, right? Before Muslims believe leaders will come down, what they say will happen. I'm gonna end it with this I'll do this one in the next episode, because I really want you to hear this one. If I do it at the end of a long episode like this, you might not see it because it's so long. I'll do it in the next episode, inshallah. Okay, take care of yourself.